Ooh. Hey, Exiles, welcome to another live here on Talkative Try. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is going to be quite a big day. All right? I'll lay out the schedule and then we'll yap for a little bit. So, in 57 minutes, we will be interviewing game director on Path of Exile 2 and Grind Gear Games co-founder Jonathan Rogers. I have the question list prepared. Almost all the questions are from all of you on YouTube, in our Discord, on Reddit, on Twitter. I had a few creators reach out. I added their questions to the list. A select few are my own, but I'm going to be focusing on the community questions first. I have follow-ups prepared. I have notes prepared. We are all good to go. In fact, if you would like to see the questions yourself, although they're a little bit more bare bones than what I have right now, you can type !questions in the Twitch or YouTube chat, and they will be there for your viewing pleasure. You can follow along. You can torch me for questions that I decide I'm going to skip, for questions that I don't end up getting to. We have around 52 initial questions, and we're going to try to get to as many as possible. I believe we have 2 hours. 2 hours set aside. Whoa, that Claire Obscure music's so good. Oh, so we have 2 hours for the interview. Starts in 56 minutes. I think that afterward we'll do a breakdown of the interview. I don't think there's anything else. If you're on YouTube, as always, hit the like button, guys. Spread it to more people in the algorithm. I looked at how many people were waiting on YouTube before I went live. I don't look at numbers while I'm live. There were 1,200 people waiting on YouTube. So that's a lot of people. And I know that pretty much every single streamer is currently sitting, waiting, watching for the interview. So that'll be exciting. Welcome in on Twitch. Welcome in on YouTube. I'm a little nervous. You get the jitters, right, guys? Anybody who's played D&D, okay, who's been a dungeon master, you know how you still get the jitters after doing it for years, right? Like you've been DMing the same group for 75 sessions, and when you sit down at the head of the table, you have your screen, you have the dice, you have your one-pager of notes, you have the NPC voices in your head, and when everybody's sitting there waiting for you to go, are you ready? You still get a little nervous, right? I feel like it's that right now for this interview. So, appreciate all the support, you guys. I had to go live a little earlier just to get the jitters over with. All right, I'm looking at questions. I'm looking at chat now, guys. First time here for the interview live. Can't wait. Good luck, man. I have improved a lot. For those of you who were here for interview number 1 all the way back in March of 2024, oh my. You're in for a ride because that first interview, that was a rough time. If people think I'm bad now, oh, they don't remember me then. Oh, talk about nervous, can't stop yapping, interrupting Jonathan. Oh, I thought I was never going to chat to the devs again after that one. I've interviewed him 76 times. Right. No. This command doesn't work? I don't think it... Does the command not work in YouTube? Hey, EVG Gear. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation, man. Did I AI Jonathan's teeth in the thumbnail? No, it is slightly upscaled, but I didn't AI it. No, that's a legit smile from Jonathan. It's from the Gazzy Jonathan interview from Exile Meet. Win 1.0, 2 years. At the minimum, man. Hey, Try, are we able to submit questions to Jonathan? Well, I have already taken questions from Jonathan quite a bit from the community. And of course, it's going to be a conversation. It's not just going to be, I ask him question, he answer question, I move to next question. Usually I have follow-ups if I think of something in the moment. If I see something in chat, if one of my mods puts something in the Google Doc, then I might ask it. So go ahead. Can't confirm the command doesn't work for YouTube. That sucks. Okay. Well, on YouTube, how about I just do this, you guys? How about I do this? Exclamation point questions. Okay. How about we just pin it in YouTube? Ah! I'll just pin it in YouTube. How about this? Whoa, whoa, we got a lot of people. Oh, you already got it. Here, I'll pin it. Replace pinned message. There you go. There are the questions if you guys want to look on YouTube. I'm not asking about campaign skip, but I am talking about interludes perhaps becoming an alternative campaign in the future. Campaign skip is a no-no for them, you guys. I do know Silver XYZ on YouTube. He's one of the first persons. Wow. Ooh, this is gonna go great. One of the first people that I ever started doing collaborative content with. He's great. Highly recommend checking out his stuff. Thanks, Chuckles. Oh, yeah. So ads. Yeah, we're going to have to run ads on Twitch, what, 10 minutes before? I imagine GGG will message me about 10 minutes before. We usually start a little early, so maybe 15 minutes before we run ads on Twitch, guys. Anybody, I don't know if anybody is watching my stream right now, any creators, but I would highly recommend you don't watch my Twitch. You should watch my YouTube because I have the minimum ads on YouTube and you can skip the YouTube ads. Or if you have YouTube Premium, go for it. I know that DM is restreaming, Gazzy, Fubgun, Rax is restreaming. So highly recommend you watch YouTube, not Twitch, because Twitch, I have minimum ads, but I can't really control it as well. Rock and Rolla, thanks for the sub, dude. Can you ask if we're going to get Steam achievements? Actually, yes. I kind of have a question where that would fit in as a follow-up. Yep, interviews in 51 minutes. I'm going to do my best, Rock and Rolla. What questions do you have ready for him? A lot. A lot of questions I have ready for him. I have it split into sections right now. End game, game identity, melee.
What's this? A real challenge. You finally caught my
builds, druid. Hey, thank you so much for the sub, dude. Thanks, Loki Trickster GG. The game's future, loot. I have some miscellaneous questions as well. I have some MTX questions. I have 2 rarity questions. That's right. Got 2 rarity questions, although they can they can kind of balloon a little bit. I need to add a note to this rarity question. Do you expect the change to item rarity on gear? This patch will make it a more coveted stat, right? Because they lowered the values. Good note. Then I have a question on SSF. I have some UI UX questions. And then I have a bunch of rapid fire questions that should be yes, no. Including a killer final question. Killer final question, guys. Seriously. Try. You know what they tell people to get over their fear of audience when speaking? Just picture them in their underwear. Well, I don't do that. And to be honest, I'm not really afraid of chatting with all you guys or chatting in front of everybody. It's more so It's more so that a lot of people would like Path of Exile 2 to be there, to be in their vision. And they see me as the conduit for that. And I don't necessarily see these interviews as that necessarily, okay? Yes, in these interviews, we can ask about, okay, what was your reasoning behind this? What do you think about changing this? Why did you make this decision? But I'm not going to try to push my idea of the game or your idea of the game on them. You guys don't want me to push my idea of the game on GGG. I really don't think you do. Remember, I'm the guy. Do I talk about my worst takes? By the way, should I say this? Should I say this? I had a 102-degree fever about 2 hours ago. I'm actually sick. I don't know if you can feel it in my voice, but I'm legit sick. So I'm a little bit delirious. I had the worst night. I got like 2.5 hours of sleep. Our entire family is sick. Both daughters hacking relentlessly. My wife in my 3-year-old's bedroom. I'm in our bedroom with my 1-year-old. We're all coughing at each other. I'm thinking this is not good. Why today? So if no, not Celsius. Not Celsius. Oh my gosh. No, I'm America. I'm American. Fahrenheit. Sorry if I I'm sorry. I need to get a mute button on. Yeah. Where was I? I was saying my vision of the game. Remember, guys, I was a huge fan of the vulture demons that flew from 38 screens away, right? You just hear the and they'd fly at your character in Act 2 or in maps, and I was like, give us some more of that grinding your games, all right? Literally boiling, guys. Yeah, timer's in the left. I'll make it bigger. Sorry, maybe it's a little too small. Here. That work? Oh, we're gonna move it at a snail's pace. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. Yeah, it's not I'm not gonna do it at a snail's pace. We're gonna move it all the way. Okay. Yeah. Not Celsius. Not Celsius, dudes. All right, people on YouTube. Come on, we gotta break 2K viewers. All right, I need the YouTube people to follow instructions right here. You need to. What do you need to do? You need to like the video. All right, you can sub to the channel if you want to. I realize that I might have some irregular viewers here today, since this is a special occasion with Jonathan. We get to talk to the game director on PoE2, and if you're an irregular viewer, I welcome you here. It was brought to my attention that some of you may have not watched me for a very long time. We had a lovely Reddit thread about the chat I had with Neversink last night. You should go check that out after this interview, by the way. I clicked on it thinking, oh, this is going to be a positive thread. This is great. Oh, I'm so happy people enjoyed the chat. Clicked on the thread. And people like Neversink, but they don't like me. So, but what I did learn, okay, I got some good feedback from that, or good insight from that. So maybe some of you are here today watching. Maybe you're not on my stream. Maybe somebody else is watching me right now and you're watching through them, so they can provide some commentary. But my content 2 years ago was way different than what it is today. I saw allegations of slop content. True. 2 years ago, I did make slop content. I was making like a video a day on Path of Exile 2 and the game wasn't even out yet. I would be like, whoa, this crazy thing about Path of Exile 2 was gonna just be so insane. All right, you got me. I have been caught, okay? Caught. That was 2 years ago. And much like grinding your games, I looked at all the feedback. And I changed my approach. And that has not been my channel for like a year and a half. So I implore you, instead of reading like the Reddit comments or just listening to other people who may have that opinion about me that hasn't shifted in 2 years, give this interview a go. Give the Neversink chat a go. I released a video on my thoughts about 0.4. Give that a go. I don't think I do slop anymore. I really don't. I really put effort, time into my videos, and I don't just pump out videos to make videos. So, okay, there's my little tirade. Hate watching and still watching, my guy. Ask Jonathan if we can also double corrupt Sekima Asala. Oh no. Oh no, we've got some gooners in the chat, okay? But Grinding Gear Games knew exactly what they were doing when they added Etziri in that manner. Come on, you guys. Come on. That was a glory shot of the butt, okay? They knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't have to do that. They did it with purpose, okay? All right, let's make sure this isn't GGG. It is not GGG messaging me. Okay. All right, no, we good? All right, we're set. I mean, I was hyper 200% as we are too. I watched daily PoE2 content 2 years ago. Now only the league start. Well, the thing is, there was very little PoE2 content 2 years ago. So I don't blame the people that had that opinion of me back then. But now it's a little different, you know? Okay. Updated Spectres list. That's not on the list, my man. Super ultra wide, not on the list. Maybe if there's... I don't know. I don't know if we'll get to everything. We have a lot of questions, guys. Are they sending me the script? No. No, all this is unscripted, guys. Yeah. There's no script for my podcasts and stuff. I don't even have script on most of my videos anymore. Yeah, 95% of my videos, no script. Do you have any questions about Toda not being there? No, Xerxes, because Ziggy D asked about it, and I don't want to do repeat questions if I don't need to. I look tired, man. I only got about 2.5 hours of sleep. Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. YouTube is really behind. YouTube is only 15 seconds behind. Can you interview Hrishi? Well, he doesn't work at Grinding Gear Games anymore. Ask Jonathan if he can put on dark sunglasses. I do have a question about Jonathan's lovely... Poop.
By the goddess, what ambition.
No, but he... My friend, thank you for the donation. I appreciate the 5R, whatever that is. But we already asked about keyboard controller hot swap. The answer he gave was basically no ETA. We're working on it. Thanks for the 100 bits, bro. Ask about any possible removal of power charge cost. I have a list of questions I will get to, and that is one of them. Yep. We're going to talk about the totem fiasco and their thoughts behind it. I will be taking it slow, and I will not be looking much at chat. Fluffy Bunny of Despair, thanks for the prime. My lore videos from last year were great. Do you have any plans to make any other lore-related videos again? Yes, those are scripted, and they take much longer than my other videos, so that's why I haven't made more, because I don't have a ton of time. But yes, I plan on making more of those, yep. Highly recommend Kit and Cat Noodle in the meantime. In-game price checker. PC players have access to apps that console players don't. Creates a big disparity. Price checker. That's not on my list of questions. If it comes up organically, if I can bring it in there organically, I can ask about it. Is this like, I don't know, Awakened Trade? I've never used something like this. Oh, goodness. Ah. Lord of the Rings League. Thanks for the 2. Oh my gosh, my voice. Oh, yikes. PvP ask. No PvP ask, man. First time enjoyer here. Super excited. Welcome in. Welcome in. Ask about if the Oracle extra nodes will be available before launch. I'd presume we're going to get the tree tomorrow or the day after. We've been getting it later. Tea. I have water. I already had tea. So, yep, drink water. Yep. There's no way they will add a price checker. People said that about async trade quite a while ago. Not cold water. Cold water is a bad idea. Please ask about profanity filter on console. I will add that to rapid fire. I thought that I had that in there. I didn't. What, do we not? Is there not a profanity filter in console? Is that the thing? Can you clarify? Oh my gosh, who cares? Who cares? Some people don't want to see profanity in the game. What is the question that you most want to ask him? Oh, buddy. You ready? Okay, it's a really short question, but I feel like we'll talk about it for 25 minutes. And I feel like people will not... All right. Here it is. Here it is written down. When I say it, you guys will see if you're following along the question list. I never follow what I actually write down. All right. This is the question I am most excited to ask. With 0.3, I'd argue PoE2 shifted tremendously toward PoE1's identity in terms of moment-to-moment gameplay. It almost turned into a walking simulator. Was 0.4 a course change in your eyes back toward the original style of PoE2's more engaging combat? Because Jonathan has only talked about the density changes being a swarming problem. I see it as like it's so much more. So much more. And then I have a flurry of stuff to follow up on that. Bro, you want to definitely upset the PoE fan base. Guys, I don't know what to say. I have a lot of questions that the PoE fan base wants to hear. And I have questions that I want to hear the answer to as well. So, the PoE fan base is more than just zooming. It's all right. And I think this is the best time to ask about, do I say the words, meaningful combat. Ooh, because of this is a big change. This is a big change. 40% less monsters. Not reduced, less. A lot less. Also, I can ask about, okay, are the same number of rare monsters that's still in the map? Okay, when are rare monsters? Do you still plan on making rare monsters more than their rare monster modifiers, as was originally the vision? That was such a great pitch. What's happening there? There's a lot. Like, I feel like that could be 25, 30 minutes. But we'll see. That's what I'm very excited about it. You saw a lot of people being hateful towards me about the interview. Oh, yeah. More so this time than any other before. I really noticed that. All the other times I've chatted with Jonathan, it's been pretty chill. This time, though, people a little mad. Just a little bit. Okay. Maybe I just didn't see it before. I wasn't looking in the right places. Maybe I shouldn't even be looking at all. I think I'd argue that's true, but people are a little mad this time. No, same monsters with 40% more health. Please no. I'm also asking about okay, here, lots of people are saying, okay, but it's going to be a walking simulator and there's not going to be monsters. Well, I also have this question. Where is it? Where is it? With the reduced density and later endgame maps now, what will the downtime between packs feel like? All right, answer. And then I have, is there a worry there will be a lot of time spent moving between packs due to reduced density? We're asking about that too, guys. Nobody wants empty maps. Yeah, the maps are beautiful, but we want to be killing monsters. We don't want to be walking. We want to be killing monsters. People who are asking for fewer monsters on screen are not asking for less fighting. They're asking for more engaging combat, cooler monsters. Jazzarus, bro, what's going on, dude? I have a question for you. I have a question inspired by you, my man. And that is where we will be ending the interview. I don't know how Jonathan's going to react. I don't think they read my question list. I might be wrong, but they didn't say anything about it. So this last question. Woo. Woo. Does pack size affect tribute to ritual? Already have that on the list, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Casual gamer brain already a step ahead of you. Jonathan. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. We're waiting. Yep, I'm asking about what happened to other druid summons. Anyone from Grinding Gear Games in the chat? I don't know. Maybe. Possible. Maybe. Oh, we've got at least one Grinding Gear Games person in the chat. Are they ever adding an in-game encyclopedia? I have a question along those lines. Oh, gosh. Oh. I'm feeling better, guys. I'm feeling better. What time is it in New Zealand? I think it's like 9 a.m. or something. All right, let's see how much power we have with Twitch chat. Let's see how many Twitch chatters we have. Can we get a PoE1 spam in Twitch chat for me? I want to see what it looks like on my screen. I'm just interested. PoE1, the emote. Can we get that? Get that? Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. Oh, the emote, guys. Not PoE1 the game. Wait, do I have Elk LFG in my chat? Do I not have that? I don't have Elk LFG. 1 second. That's really sad. I recently learned about Try Shush. You guys check out that one. I go like this. Shh. I didn't know about that one. That one was new to me. Elk LFG. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, we just added Elk LFG. There we go. There we go, guys. There we go. Try Shush. That's a good one. That's a good one. Uh-huh. Call myself a strip. Guys, I'm not like... I know. Oh, boy. DS Lily Brain. Okay, that's another one we could add. Okay. All right. DS Lily. Lily, please. DS Lily Brain. Where's DS Lily? DS Lily Brain? What's the emote? Brain. What is it again? Can I ask if there are any spirit gems that summon birds? I'm asking about other summons, yes. What is that one of Lily? Oh my gosh. Snurpy? Wait, this is not a 7 TV one though. That's special for DS Lily. Can I just play the Standard League as Druid since I never finished the season? Yeah. Yeah. You get Druid in Standard League. You didn't know my YouTube game was this strong? Bro. The big reason people don't like me. My YouTube game is very strong. The number of people saying they block my channel is kind of I must invade the algorithm with my videos. I don't know what to say. Oh yes, Talkative Dog is also great. Yep, that's a good one. I recently learned about that. Yes, I have that question about what is it? It's the Black Flame Keystone. Does it affect Fire Breath? Because Fire Breath is an attack, but Black Flame Covenant doesn't affect attacks, right? It's only spells. I guess that I could add that to rapid fire. I don't care. I don't think they care if I add these to rapid fire. I know Jonathan said it does, but it's an attack. I know he said okay. Well, I guess I won't ask him again. I know he asked about it in Ziggy D's interview, but we got the gem and it's an attack, and attacks don't work with Black Flame Covenant. There's no way they're gonna add an Ascendancy mid-league. Extra Ascendancy classes like the Abyss Lich, they don't want to spoil that. I think there's one in there. Regicide the 2-time. Thanks for the prime. Wait, is somebody saying that toxic positivity is good for the algorithm? I don't know, man. I don't know if you're aware of how the YouTube algorithm works. I don't know. people are a lot more likely to interact with. Well, you know, I do piss a lot of people off being happy. I do get a lot of interactions because I'm happy. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, dude. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say people interact with negative content a lot more. Like it infuriates them, it frustrates them, it makes them want to type out a comment and share it with their friends and be like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! It makes me so mad." Right? But I bet the same also happens for me being very happy. Thanks for the 1 bit. 04 is a nice early Christmas present. It is true. Merry Christmas, everyone. That won't be controversial. How long's the interview? They said it could go 2 hours, and I'm very keen on ending it on the dot and not pushing it over. So the max it'll go is 2 hours. So 3 to 5. All right, I better be watching for my Discord. All right. Yeah, I got the biggest boost of encouragement right before pressing go. Pressing start streaming, manage broadcast. My 3-year-old daughter, she ran up, gave me a kiss and said, "You gonna do so well, Dad." And she gave me a kiss. Ran downstairs. I was like, that's nice. That's nice. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, girl. How dare you say Christmas, not holidays? Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about anything. I just, you know, you get the jitters. You just get the little jitters. That's it. How do you keep up with the bills as a streamer? That's the funny thing as well. A lot of people have this misconception. I am not a full-time streamer. I took PTO for this interview. I have a full-time job. That might make some people angry too. I have a real job. What? Why is job censored? Why do people keep censoring job? Is this a joke on the internet? I see people censoring job. I don't have 5 jobs, 12 cribs, and 7 wives. I'm very realistic with my load. 1 wife, 2 kids. Honestly, I'd say 2 jobs. This is a lot. I put a lot of time into this, honestly. So.
Exotic.
A real job is anything you get paid doing. Thank you for the sub, and thank you for the super chat. I'm very troubled by the new bear footage. They showed the bear roll for dodge animations a year ago, and yet it is absent in recent footage. They made it like a little hop, little sprint. It's not a roll anymore. Oh, I'm gonna pee before the interview. Don't worry, guys. Okay, in like 10 minutes, I think we should run ads on Twitch. I will once again say to any streamer restreaming this, watch on YouTube. Way less ads, unless you've subbed to my channel or something. I really would hate for people to get ads midstream. But if it's 2 hours, I think will there be 1 3-minute ad break on Twitch? I think there will be. On YouTube, you can skip. Or if you have premium, you're good. So I'm streaming on YouTube as well. There's no drops or anything. I'm also streaming in higher quality on YouTube. So if you want to see Jonathan in 2K as opposed to Twitch's 1080p, you know. I got a job and I upload this often. Yes, I do it late at night after my kids are asleep. That's why all my podcasts start at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Because 6:55 is bedtime for my kids. Yep. That's right. Crazy. I can force ads on Twitch, but I can only run like a few, I think. YouTube does have a tiny delay. It's true. Tiny delay. Okay. Can I ask Jonathan about the state of thorns? Ah. I don't have it on the list. Yeah, I got my list of questions here. But they're always like I try not to read directly from the list. Oh, all right. A ruthless mode? We don't want a ruthless mode. That is a band-aid solution. PoE2 isn't even a year. Well, it is a year old now. Oh my gosh, it was PoE2's birthday 2 days ago. We don't want a ruthless mode. No. Ask Jonathan what he thinks about his middle finger meme. I do have a question about the middle finger meme. Hopefully I don't get anybody at Grinding Your Games in trouble with it. I do, yes. Yes, I have a PoE1. That right there, guys. When's the chat? Timer in the corner. Should be around then. I'm waiting for the message from GGG. I got to start my virtual camera. Okay, let's make sure that this is good to go. Jonathan, is that? Jonathan Rogers. I didn't spell it wrong, right? Jonathan Rogers. Yep, we are good. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I know it's a PoE1 NPC animation. That's what I'm going to ask about. It's a joke question. I have like 2 joke questions in here. Where is Jonathan? He's not late. No one's late. And it's like, what did, I think Bella K said it was like 8:30. I think he's doing this at like 9 a.m. their time. Any questions regarding transmog? Yes. Yes. I do have questions regarding transmog. I know there are dozens of us that care about transmog out there. Oh my gosh. Are they? No. No. Oh, goodness gracious. Secrecy, I am trying to. Don't you worry, bro. Thank you for the $5, Raging Pacifist. You would like to initiate a boycott of bear farm until the bear roll is reinstated. Thank you for your attention on this matter. I don't know if it's going to be reinstated, bro. All right. I think I work in paid media, guys. I do like Google ads and job board ads and meta ads, all that stuff. Being BRB. Bathroom. BRB. All right, I'm going to go pee. I will be right back, you guys. Right back, okay? Yeah, I'm really hoping it goes well, guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Seriously. I hope that I do you all proud. Oy, 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 oy. Okay. Man, I don't get this nervous about anything at work or with my family. Oh. Goodness. All right, maybe in like 2 minutes we should I did wash my hands. Guys, quit it. Quit it. Quit it. All right. I just had to pee. My bathroom is like 15 feet away. How do they gather player responses? I have asked him that in a prior interview. I don't smell hand soap. I used hand soap. It was coconut. Coconut hand soap. Wash my hands on stream. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Did I sit or stand? I definitely stood. I stood. I did flush. I flush every time I use the bathroom. My chair model and brand, it's a Flexispot C4 or C7 or something. I did an ad for it years ago. So it's nice. Ugh. But sometimes when I really want to like relax and chill, you know, not do things good for my back, it doesn't work. The best. Shave Dome, thanks for the 5 gifted subs, dude. I appreciate it. Did I put the toilet seat back down? Funny story, the toilet seat in that bathroom is actually broken. So, no, I did not put the toilet seat back down. Still standing up. Who doesn't flush after using the bathroom? People who don't want to waste the water. I've been places where they ask me not to flush the toilet after I use the bathroom. Unless it's a number 2. Go fix it. I've got 15 minutes. No, it's been broken for like a week. Worried about correlation between less enemies and charge generation on mana or kill or mana life leech builds. There's going to be a conversation about all that. Don't worry, my man. All right. All right, we're at 15 minutes. I think we should... well, they haven't messaged me yet. So maybe don't run ads? Maybe don't run ads. They haven't messaged me. Minus 40% mob density? Yes, I will be talking about that. Very excited. There's a delay between my camera and sound. There is not. Some people, like, I've seen 3 people talk about that. There's a lot. Do I take music requests? No, I just played Claire Obscure music. They made the mobs 40% shorter? No. 0 delay here. How long will the interview be? They said we can go a max of 2 hours. So 2 hours will be the maximum. Maybe it'll end earlier. I don't know. I take whatever time they give me. And I super appreciate them giving me the opportunity and giving us the opportunity to ask them questions. Super excited. I'm starting to get into Google Meta ads for my brother-in-law. Where did you learn? Literally just online and experimenting in the platform. Although, dude, a lot's going to change with the advent of AI and search engine or large language models and stuff. I don't know if Google Ads has a long-term, like, a lot's going to change there upcoming. But that's a very work-related thing. All right. While we're stalling for Grinding Gear Games, I want to hear from all 3,000 or so people in the chat. What are you guys league starting? Give me your class and skill or vibe. I know what I'm going. Easily. All right. The warrior was trying to lead me astray. All right. But I know the way. Druid. Bear, druid. Fire everywhere. Maximum vibes. And I bet I'll probably slip into wolf because wolf looks pretty sick. Oracle Chaos Dragon. Oh my gosh. Thanks for the sub, Agent Ambush. Templar. Ha ha ha. A lot of farmers. We got a lot of farmers in the chat. Interesting. Okay, okay. Spin to win. Okay, so we have some Messiah believers with spin to win. Pathfinder. Is Pathfinder the new meta ascendancy? My dad was telling me how Pathfinder is the new meta ascendancy. He said he's going to go Lightning Arrow Pathfinder. Is that what the people are theory crafting about? Oh my god. My dad just cannot help himself. He just has to go the most busted thing. Ranger Wolf, Lightning Stormweaver all the way. Do you want to come say hi, Kitty? You want to come say hi? I got a message on Discord. Oh, it's not GGG. Uh-oh. Hmm. Ah, good to know. Good to know. Oh, a shout out from Arrow. I appreciate that, my man. Thanks for the super chat. I do not have any plans on asking about the layouts in the campaign. I'm sorry, I don't have any questions planned for that. The music name, this is Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, The Reacher. It's the Vers la Samet track. One of the side areas in Claire Obscure. It's pretty sick. Do I have plans about asking shape-shifting ascendancy for Druid? I do. I have my Unga Bunga question. Shaman, cool. Oracle, cool. Doesn't vibe with me. Where's my Unga Bunga shape-shifting class? Alright. Alright, should be starting pretty soon here, guys. Here, I'm turning off Twitch alerts. Where are the Twitch alerts? They are... Why can I never find them? There they are. Alerts are off. Music stays on until I get a message. Oh, yeah. Have we run ads on Twitch? Okay, yeah, we're running them right now. Ads are running. Thank you. Thanks, Mods. Thank you. Oh. Okay. I have a new question. I have a new question while we stall here. Were you guys a fan of Druid Butt more or Atziri Butt? Type Druid Butt for Druid Butt, Atziri Butt for Atziri Butt. Let's go. Come on. I need to hear the people. Let's see. Let's take a look. Butt is butt, Atziri Butt. Butts are butts. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm seeing lots of different answers here, guys. Lots of different answers. All right. You can't fix that Ziri, man. She's got some crazy lore. Did you know? Let's do lore facts while we wait. Did you know Queen Atziri causing the cataclysm and communing with the beast is, I think it's the only historical event that is present on all the different timelines of Rayclast. Pretty sick, right? Oh, got a message. All right, we're gonna. It looks like we're gonna start right at 3. Okay, we got 7 minutes to go. Okay. Ah. Yep, we're starting right at 3 o'clock. All right, so we got 6 minutes, guys. Thanks for the shout out, DM. I appreciate it, man. Do we reverse shout out? Can we do that? Whoop. Gotta move that a little bit. Go. I take your shout out and I raise it with my shout out. Although we do not have as many viewers as you do. All right, so let's see. What? Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, guys. We got a lot of stuff here. Somebody is in the document. I don't know who is in the document. Are the mods in the document? Oh my goodness. Big question from chat. Do I plan on finishing the campaign in 0.4? I don't know, guys. I don't know. We all know I've never finished the PoE2 campaign. Oh, it's not immortalized on YouTube many times over. What? Here's a better question. Will I find Arbiter Citadels before level 93 this league? I think that's the better question. I really hope I can find some Arbiter Citadels before level 93. That's my one wish, okay? I hope my Atlas Seed is great, okay? That's what I want. Mirror drop this? I do not play enough to get a mirror drop now. No, there's no way. You need to visit the monolith to start the Citadel quest. Dude, I did finish the... No, there's no... No. No. Can we romance at Ziri in 0.4? Maybe that's a secret if you're a particular ascendancy. Gemling Legionnaire. Hi, Gazi. Say hi to the wifey. She is out with the kids right now. I have the home to myself. I can yell as loud as I'd like. Do I plan on completing Act 1? All right. All right. One sec, guys. Jonathan's calling. Wait, mute this. Hello, hello. Great. I have you muted right now. Wait, what's going on here? Why did I not have you populating for some reason? Let me grab you for a sec. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. How you doing today? Are you working remote today? Oh, okay. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Do you have a short commute or do you have a long one? Oh, that's nice. See? That's good. All right, let me carve you up and we'll get right started. There we go. Close chat as well because it's flying. All right, we're going to do an audio test and we'll get going. There you go. Oh, all right. I just enabled your audio. You should be good to go.
All right. All good. All right.
How does he sound?
I'm going. Hopefully everyone thinks it sounds all right. I've got my microphone just propped up on a box here, so hopefully it's, I don't have a good audio setup in my, at home.
We cannot hear. We cannot hear. Good,
Oh.
good. Okay, they're good. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good? All right. All right. I think we are good to go then. Sweet. All right. I will do a little bit louder. All right. I'll do a little bit louder. I'll do it via Discord. Right here. All right. All right. Give me one more test for chat.
All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'm Jonathan Rogers, game director on PoE2. That's what I normally say when I'm doing these.
Perfect. All right. Perfect. All right. All right. I'll do a silly YouTube intro and we'll hop right into it, man. Thank you for doing this as always. It's always a pleasure.
No problem.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey, Exiles, welcome to yet another episode of the Still Sane podcast. I am here with the game director on Path of Exile 2, Jonathan Rogers, to talk all things 0.4, Fate of the Val, the last of the Druids. There's a lot packed into this update. But before we get to all that's packed into it and many burning community questions on it, I did want to take a few minutes to talk about what's not packed into it, okay? And that's obviously the endgame, right? Endgame was slated to have a big revamp for 0.4. It was pushed to 0.5. You guys were very upfront about that. Now, one question I've seen a lot in the community is, given in 0.3, you guys did push a good chunk of substantive endgame changes in that 0.1 update that ended up being pretty positively received. Do you know if there's any chance or opportunity for a 0.1 patch for 0.4 wherein you do make some endgame alterations?
We certainly could do that, but if we're doing that, it would be because we're seeing feedback about, more mechanical things as opposed to content. Like, one of the big things that we like, that's supposed to be coming for the end game is a lot more content stuff and, change to the Atlas tree and that kind of thing. So I don't think we'd be doing that in like a 0.4.1 type update. It's more about like, if there's something that's like going wrong with what we've got, or like, things where we're like, we're unhappy with, the current way it's working. That's the kind of changes that we would then do in a 0.4.1. But in terms of like content, those would usually be for the, the larger kind of releases. So that's where we'll be seeing that.
That makes total sense and expected from me. Then
Mm-hmm.
the systems that you currently have implemented, the Arbiter of Ash, okay? He has this new reward to beating him. You unlock rare tablets so you can juice your maps a lot more than you could previously in 0.31. Now, the Arbiter, unless there are some secret changes not in the patch notes, is still an RNG gated pinnacle boss. You have to go out from the middle of the Atlas. You got to find the citadels. And I got to say, just from my own personal experience and many anecdotes I've seen across, people will get to level 92, 93, pushing out, looking at the burning monolith, and they will not find the Arbiter. Do you guys have any changes planned there, especially now that he's locking behind such a substantial piece of endgame juicing content?
So I think that in 031 we did. I can't remember whether it was in 031 or whether it might have gone. We did improve the like the number of them quite a lot. It's actually like it is random right now, but the plan is to like. I mean, one of the things we want to do when we're improving the end game is we've talked before about how we want to improve the feeling of not having goals, and one of the ways to do that is to kind of questify some of the mechanics for like the various league mechanics and so on. So they've kind of got like predefined places where you can kind of do those things like at the start, right? So the idea would be like at the start there's kind of a quest line. It's going to tell you, you need to go here and do this, that kind of thing, and then it's only once you reach the end of that kind of quest line element that you would then get the sort of full random like stuff. And so that would mean that like for the first time that you fight a lot of this content, there'd be a predefined way to do that. The challenging part is kind of intermixing the kind of random elements of the end game in with like a kind of a more of a storyline type, you have to do this then that kind of thing. So that's kind of what we've got like going on, what we hope to do later, and that will mean that you no longer have that RNG element as much for some of that stuff that's sort of imperative to do. But the thing is that like I still don't want it to be that when you start the end game, it's just like a completely predefined experience like the campaign. There needs to be an element of randomness to it. So it's really just a question of like how to kind of get those mixed elements. But yeah, one thing I can mention, I don't know if if people know exactly how this works, but uh, there are these like macro blocks in the in the random algorithm that it uses, and
Okay.
within one of those we do guarantee uh, uh, actually, how does it work exactly? There's something like there's an arbiter, like out of one in every two macro blocks, and like within a macro block, it's like a certain defined area. You're always going to find all three citadels. So like it's kind of like it's not fully random. Like we have sort of like toned down the randomness compared to how it was like right in the beginning. But I do understand you can still have a situation where like just due to unluckiness, you kind of like go right between two of the blocks. You don't really know. I mean, they're not obvious, right? So that can kind of mean that you can still feel quite unlucky, even though technically there's kind of a defined rate of them that you'll get.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. I just know a lot of people are probably going to end up trading for fragments if they're playing
Sure, I
the
mean that can
market
happen
and
as well,
stuff
of
like
course.
that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully with 0.5 we get the improved, like more like you said,
I think
streamlined for.
I think that you'll appreciate that what the changes that are coming as far as like the Atlas story, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Exciting stuff. 0.5 is going to be good. Okay. A few more end game things that I just wanted to touch on here.
Hmm.
There's also been a lot of people asking about greater zoom for the Atlas, since that's,
Hmm.
so many nodes and everything. Is there any plan on making that happen?
I do want to look into that pretty soon. One of the reasons we didn't do the Zoom initially so much was just because of performance issues. I've been concentrating a lot on performance recently, so
Right.
this is something that I could now probably look at again and see whether or not the performance is going to be better. There's still quite a lot to come there though with performance, and so and honestly at this point I should probably check again and see what the performance is like if we allow greater zoom. It really is just a performance concern. So we can definitely do that. I mean, there might be some clarity issues, but I'm sure we can solve that. I mean, people have like got various hacks to allow zooming out extra and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So therefore, like it's not like too bad or anything. I mean, people do want it. So yeah, if as long as we can get the performance of it fine, then it's probably fine to do.
A slight side tangent here. You mentioned you've been focusing a lot on the performance, and I know you also said that you coded the core system of Fate of the Val, the actual temple. Do
Mhm.
you do a lot of the hands-on like coding with all these
Um,
things right now?
I don't usually,
Okay.
but in this league, I did the Fate of the Val core like simulation, and then yeah, I did get a bit involved in the performance work. Like, one of the things you can get in a game company is that like you've got all these specialists, right? And it's like here's a guy who's working on UI, and here's a guy who's working on gameplay, and here's a guy who's working on like core engine stuff, and it's like people can often lose focus on the larger picture because it's very easy to look at something and kind of be like, oh, okay, well, this is, the gameplay team needs to work about that. And so it's hard sometimes for someone with a more global look to come along
Hmm.
and kind of say, okay, well, if we look at all these together, what are the problems, looked at as a larger system? And so that's when it can kind of be a bit useful for me to step in and be like, okay, like let's try to work out some kind of, coordination here to actually try and find that stuff out. So I mean, if you want to like talk about it, I can talk about the technical details. Like what we did previously, we, like when you're rendering the game, you've got like, and simulating the game, you've got like effectively a job system where you've got like, here's the CPU cores that you've got, here's the jobs that we want to, to run on those cores. And previously we had this very ad hoc system where like, this thing would queue some jobs and that thing would queue some jobs, and they all had their own
Okay.
synchronization of like when to know when was finished and when one wasn't and all that kind of stuff. And what I effectively did was write like a job system that allows for kind of like creating a global view on like when to run things and so on. And then
Right.
once you've
Okay.
got that, it's sort of easy to tell like this can run alongside this and this can't run alongside that and all that kind of thing. And you can effectively express all these dependencies. And then once we had that, then all the programmers in the various systems can then go and start, putting things in there. And then everything now runs just a lot more concurrently than it did before. So the major change we had was just making it so that, yeah, we can take advantage of more of your CPU because we're running things concurrently that previously weren't allowed to run at the same time. And then, of course, there was also just other optimizations, just like, hey, this is slow, that is slow. We get spikes when you do this, you get spikes when you do that.
Right.
Just that kind of stuff, that I just kept on pounding people, like, no, we need to fix this, we need to fix this. And one of the other things as well is just really making sure that we never get a situation where a resource that's needed is not available at the point where we need it. So that's been something we've been focused on for quite a while now, actually, kind of getting all those things sorted out. And a lot of the time, that's what leads to spikes because you go and you use a skill, and then like, oh, the texture for this wasn't loaded or whatever it is, and then now you have to wait for that to happen, and so you get a frame spike. So we're just like fixing all of those kinds of problems and generally improving that kind of thing.
Well, the baseline performance improvements look fantastic, and I know that was the number one thing that people had a lot of problems with. Console,
Yeah, that's
PC,
something. But
so it's awesome.
But there's still a lot more to do. Like I know, like just even looking at what we've got, like there's quite a lot more that could be optimized. Like just on a more individual level, and it's still funny the way that you find things. Like the just to pick a random example, like we found out like a week ago or something that we were iterating through the whole UI 3 times every frame. Like that kind of thing. Where it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, that's not really very good. Like it doesn't. It's like it doesn't matter that much. Like in the end, right? That particular thing only was like 0.3 milliseconds, right? It's not actually adding up to like a huge amount, but like in the it's like it's just lots of little things like that all add up to something, which is a problem, right?
Yeah.
So you go through things and you find them, you remove them one at a time, and now a funny thing we actually ran into the other day is we actually ran into a problem that only reproduced when the FPS was too high. So we're like over 400 FPS, you actually start to get this kind of problem. And I'm like, that's not normally a problem that you normally run into. I mean, this is in like a test scene that was like really empty, but previously we couldn't even achieve that kind of FPS.
Right.
So we never found that kind of problem before. And another funny thing about that one is it turns out that the code for that that was bugged went back to commit number 1632, which I did 18 years ago myself. It was a bug in my code from 18 years ago. It was like right in the depths of the code base. There was like a rounding problem with the that I added that long ago, and so it was kind of funny to see that sort of stuff all the way back in the early history.
Okay, that's wild that you have the date, like the date's going all the way back then. You have everything tracked.
Yeah, I mean, we've got our version control just goes all the way back to the very first commit of the company from right from the beginning.
Very nice. Okay, and I know it's interesting though. Massive improvements. Thank you for the tangent. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Okay, swapping gears back to PoE2 specifically. So another question that a lot of people have about PoE2's end game is the severe punishment for death. Okay, we have minus XP. We have the inability to use tablets on map nodes. We lose any special things that were attached to that map node when you die. And now we're losing our limbs that we earn in the temple. So a lot of people are wondering, does it need to be that punishing? Is there any room to like relax a tad on it? I do think there should be some punishment, but what's your opinion on this?
So, I mean, it comes down to all of those things have different purposes that are kind of important. So, the XP penalty obviously would be the main one that people would, like want to chat about. And effectively, that one, it is important to me that there is a reason why you can't just build entirely glass cannon. And if we didn't have the XP penalty in in-game maps, you wouldn't you'd just be able to do that. Now, in PoE2, we obviously removed the penalty that we used to have in PoE1 during the campaign, and that's because there really wasn't a thing that was giving us, right? So if you're going to have a penalty for death, it needs to be like achieving some kind of gameplay goal, and here what we want to do is actually make the in-game ladder competitive, and not just have it that the strongest glass cannon wins. Like, there needs to be an element of, like, you do need to actually build defenses if you want to get to level 100, and I think probably the major reason why we see a lot of pushback about this is because the community often have an expectation that getting to level 100 is a thing that you should be doing, but like we've never seen it that way, because it's kind of like, okay, level 100 is supposed to be the thing that like only the like top people actually do. But I think that what you've had a situation where there's a lot of games where getting to max level is kind of like not like that, like it's not a huge deal, you know. Like if you're talking about like, you know, like traditional MMOs and stuff like that, right? Like getting to max level is just like table stakes to even begin the end game in
Right.
a lot of those, a
Yes.
lot of those cases. So because we're not like that, because the ladder is actually competitive, and because you, you know, have a thing where, yeah, you're not necessarily expected to reach that to kind of finish the game, as it were. It just sort of means that there's a bit of a different situation. So I think some of it can just come down to, like, you know, what are we doing to communicate the fact that level 100 doesn't have to be your actual final goal. You know, and like, to be honest, like the last few levels of like getting from like 96 or something to 100, it's not like you're getting a huge amount of power for doing that, right? Like an extra 4 passives, it's not like the hugest deal. Like you get a much larger amount of power from just like all the other stuff you're doing. So that's what that penalty is doing. Now the map, removing the stuff in the maps penalty, the specific problem that's solving is that we don't want it to be that there's an incentive to kill yourself and fail the map on purpose in order to re-get some of the rewards in the map. So effectively what we do is remove all the rewards in the map once you die, specifically just to prevent that kind of item farming abuse that we'd otherwise have there. So it's not like I want that penalty per se, it just fixes the exploit you'd otherwise have. So if we had another way to address that, then we would just not do that. It's entirely just down to that particular thing. So I
Right.
mean that's sort of an example of thing. Now the limb thing, I just thought it would be a
It's
cool.
cool.
We
Yeah.
just thought it'd be a cool thing. Like that was just like it's just one league. Like I
Uh-huh.
just thought it'd be sort of fun thing. I do like occasionally having like quirky and out there mechanics. So yeah, that's what that one's about.
Yeah, that one was a little jokey. I did have one other one that I wanted to touch on too that I didn't include in that
Hmm.
list. So when people juice maps now in PoE2, the more mods
Hmm.
equals the less portals. When you have maximum number of mods on your
Yeah.
waystone, you get one portal. Do you think
Hmm.
that might be a tad too punish? Like two? Would you ever swap it to two portals? So you do have a little bit of leeway if you're going full
Um,
in, 6 mods, corrupted, everything, or no? You like the max
um,
punishment there?
yes, I like the fact that you go down to one life. Like the hardest content is one life exactly. I guess the thing there is once again like there's the like I would hope that most people towards the end game aren't dying most of the time. And really, what there's a bit of a communication element here too that we're trying to do, which is to communicate the idea that if the maps are too hard for you, then maybe run less mods on them, right?
Okay,
Like
good.
make it less hard for yourself so that you
Yeah.
get a little bit of that sort of easier time. And so my hope is that that can kind of is the thing that gets communicated by that, you know, like by that element. I guess it's not been something that's particularly come up for me as a problem recently, so I guess it's one of those things that I'd have to maybe have another think about. But yeah, it's not really on my radar as like that being a particular thing as a problem for people.
I'm curious. A lot of people were wondering if you were going to stream your gameplay at any point. Is that something that's still in the cards? I know you
You
mentioned
know,
it
so
on
I
the
actually
Hit
was
Me JP
I,
interview.
I was pretty keen on that, and I was actually talking to another streamer recently about it,
Oh,
and he was sort of saying that he didn't think it was actually a good idea in practice, and the reason is because, like, like the way I would treat it would be like it's like a good time where I can just enjoy myself and like, you know, have a gaming session. But what he was saying is what people will treat that as is like judging me continuously for every single minor thing. It's like
yes, my
if I
man.
don't pick up an item or if I just like don't, you know, over there, I'm going to be completely judged by that. And he was sort of saying you really shouldn't do that, because all it's just going to result in is like random those kinds of issues. And I feel sad about that because honestly, I would love to just have a good time, just like, you know, having a chat to someone, playing the game, you
Yeah.
know, that kind of thing. But he was saying like you're probably gonna regret doing it if I do. So yeah, I'm not so sure about that one, unfortunately, due to that reason. But
People
you know,
can
that's
be
a bit of
brutal. They
a
can be brutal, dude. So
right.
I was asking because you mentioned you didn't have the issue. Have you been playing like some of the end game? I know in the past you said you mostly play the campaign and then
I
reset when you're
do,
testing.
yeah, I do mostly play campaign and then don't go, like play much of the end game. And the reason is because mostly what I'm playing is I'm playing at home on the dev build. I'm like testing a new character, that kind of stuff. So I don't often get a chance to play much of the end game stuff. Now the person who does do that a lot is Mark. Like Mark plays the end game a lot, and usually he's playing multiplayer as well because he wants to make sure that he wants to make sure that all the multiplayer issues get tested because usually in QA. You know, like multiplayer specific problems don't come up a lot because you know like they're obviously all testing individual things or whatever. So by testing multiplayer, you can actually make sure that we don't have you know kind of catastrophic issues, and a lot of them come up like and especially more subtle ones like along like with bosses and things like that
Yeah.
because you know like bosses need to have AI specifically for multiplayer and that kind of thing, and you know you don't necessarily got a lot of opportunity to test that in the normal office environment.
Right. Okay, great. Let's move on to I think one of the most controversial topics of the entire patch. One that I was so pumped about when I first heard. I think
Hmm.
it came out of I think it was Mark's mouth, okay?
Hmm.
40% reduced monster density in endgame maps, okay? That was a
Right.
big change that was made. I played a ton of 0.3 and I had a great time.
Mhm.
But after that patch, I had seen the game as moving a lot more toward the Path of Exile 1 identity. You're zooming through maps, you're blowing up screens of mobs. There's not a lot of engaging combat going on in the end game. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
that's fine, whatever. They'll kind of morph into the same game eventually. And then when I read through the patch notes and when I saw your guys' presentation for 0.4 and you said that line, I was like, oh my gosh, they're trying to build, more visual clarity back into the game. They're trying to maybe make combat more engaging. Could you break down what your goals were with that? I know you talked about swarming. Was it
Yeah.
more beyond that, or is it just the swarming thing?
So I mean, I guess there's several issues, right? So
Yeah.
one of them is the swarming for sure, just like a problem where like a lot of people were very unhappy about that. I do think that it was too much. Like I think in fact the numbers were just wrong from the start. Like we just for whatever reason got that incorrect with the monster pack stuff we did in endgame. The issue that we had, of course, was like, nerfing this is controversial, like 100%. I mean, like I say nerfing, but it's like it isn't so much a nerf exactly, right? Like there's still the same amount of life you have to kill from monsters. It's a question of whether it's distributed from multiple monsters or not. And I think the issue that we really had was just that we were limiting the number of builds that were viable at endgame.
Right.
Like kind of unintentionally, right? Because you had like there was just a minimum amount of kind of AoE clearing you had to do to make it work. And so we wanted to make it so that you can play a spammy build, but you can also play a build that like concentrates on bigger hits that are smaller in AoE. Like both of those things should be allowed. And the current way it was just kind of wasn't really allowing for that. Now, because of the Atlas tree, and especially what we'll do later on, there's like, and just like general speaking, you can add more monsters, you can get
Yeah.
more of that stuff, right? So that can still happen. And so I don't think that it's going to end up being, like something where you just feel like monster density is like, like I don't want anyone to ever be thinking like, where's the monsters, right? You don't want that. It still needs to be that, like you still want to be at endgame blasting some monsters. It's
Right.
just that you really need to have it so that it isn't so overwhelming that a person who like, is so that you don't want everyone to feel pushed into, okay, I can only play like the biggest AoE like lightning spear, this kind of
Right.
stuff, type of thing, right? Or, like whatever is the most spammy. So that's really the key goal there. I think we're gonna have to look at it again, like now that we've got another playthrough here, and like with all the people and see how that goes. But yeah, I mean that's the basic idea behind it.
Okay. Question about the packs and everything. I think
Hmm.
there's 40% less monster packs. That also mean there's less rare monsters, or is the number of rare monsters and maps the same as
No, the
before?
number of rares is the same. So we didn't reduce the number. We didn't reduce the number of packs. We reduced the number of monsters in a pack, and that, by the way, like the way that that's done is by there's the system called effectiveness, which is basically every monster has like a budget of how much like how much they are worth, as it were, as a monster, in terms of like how, and it sort of loosely correlates in how damaging they are, and but it also translates into lots of other factors, so like how much do they drop, how much experience do they give, all these kinds of things. And effectively, what we did is reduce the effectiveness per pack to be lower so that like the individual packs can be smaller. Now that can still be grown again by mods and all the things. Like so when you add extra monsters with mods, what that's doing is it's increasing the effectiveness budget that a pack has so that the pack can grow larger. But it doesn't actually change the number of packs, which is what controls things like how many rare monsters you get and that kind of thing. Because there's usually there's only one rare per pack usually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How does it interact with league mechanics like ritual, wherein the more monsters you have, like the more ritual favor you get? Have you guys
Yeah,
thought
so
about that?
ritual numbers were balanced basically to counteract this. So like like it's just like that basically because but the goal is not to nerf rewards here. The goal is to keep those the same. So therefore, anything like that's going
Okay.
to care about something like that, we just adjust the numbers to kind of like sort that out.
Okay. Exciting. All right. Now, with this change where there's less monsters per pack, maybe the packs have a
Hmm.
little bit more identity. You're supposed to maybe engage with them a tad more. I had a conversation with Neversink last night about rare monsters and how originally they were going to have a bigger identity in PoE2.
Right, right.
And right now, rare monsters are completely enveloped by the modifiers on them. I think we saw this
Yeah.
really well with Abyss, where, oh my goodness, some of
Mhm.
those Abyssal rare monsters modifiers
Right, right.
were killing me. Do you see a world in which PoE2 maybe returns to that age where each rare monster is going to be, kind of special? Maybe it's like a three,
Yeah.
4 second fight where you care about the monster and don't care so much about the modifiers on the rare monster.
I do want to make rares more interesting and identified like that. It's just the issue with that is that it's really hard to get time for a change like that, which doesn't see as much immediate return. So it's one of those things where, like, once we get a bit of time, we can do something like that. And what I sort of suspect is we'll probably have like a launch at some point where like that's a big focus and we make it into a feature and like we try to like make sure there's something there. But it's just it's kind of like it probably won't be soon. Like I certainly don't think it would be before full release because it's something that we kind of can't. I think justify while we're also trying to make well in particular right like we need all the people working on monsters to be working on acts 5 and 6 and that kind of stuff so like there's that's the issue that we'd face trying to do a change like that right now.
Every monster needs the Death Knight treatment. Come on, we want all the
Right,
monsters to have special abilities.
yeah.
Okay. Another question a little bit on visual clarity. So environmental
Mhm,
clarity, so monsters and like a monster
mhm,
abilities seem to have been addressed a little bit in this patch in 031. How about character visual clarity or skill clarity?
mhm.
I remember so vividly listening to you guys. I think you and Chris talk about, oh, in Path of Exile 2, you'll be shooting 10 arrows instead of 100, but the 10 arrows will have the effectiveness of the 100.
Right.
In PoE2, it seems like it's kind of jumped the shark already. We're already in this patch, and you're able to do that with Twister builds, some Lightning Arrow builds. Do you
Right.
see that as something you want to allow or something you want to rein in eventually?
It is a very tricky balance for sure, but look, we are trying to improve the like the worst cases, right? So I mean, there was that I'm seeing some video of like Ziz like where he's like doing his flashbang build and then he puts his dark glasses on, right? It's like
There you go.
that's the thing we really don't want to be really don't want to be required. So I know that there were changes to cluster grenades to make it so that that wasn't as much of a problem. I think that they split. I think they split. The functionality of the Nova projectiles thing to kind of like make it so that that was a little bit less crazy. Like we do sort of adjust it where we need to adjust it. And like I know that there'll still be more that we can do as well. Like there's still more temporal culling stuff we can do, which is like a new culling system where we can add things in to make things a little bit less spammy. There's stuff like that going on. Like for okay, just a couple of days ago we were fiddling around a bit with the ice explosions, the shatter effect, because that was like a performance problem people had. Like I mostly was caring about performance when I was looking into that, but like there's things like that that we can do to kind of just improve stuff. And by the way, the shatter effect should no longer be a performance problem. It's like now cheaper
Nice.
than the monster that got shattered, so that's good. So there's things like that that we can do. But I mean, it's like really, I think that's just you don't want to ruin the fun for people either. So the I think that in a way as well, the monster density change will affect this because it's going to require less spam to be effective necessarily anyway. So, like you'll kind of get that situation where that sort of improves. But look, I just don't want to be seen as like, okay, we're just going to nerf everything, right? Like we are going to do targeted nerfs. We have been doing that. But the thing is as well is that like people sometimes don't appreciate the fact that the way the stuff gets out of control is not necessarily predictable by us. Like it's to do with the combining overlap of like many different things that sort of come together as like, oh, now this is really easy to do. And like usually when we've seen situations where the spam can be high, we've kind of been like, okay, sure, it's possible to spam this thing, and we can see what the limits of the player are. But we've always been of the opinion when we can see that and we can test that in advance that but no one would do that because like for this reason or other reason, the damage is going to be low. It's not actually going to be worth doing. And so then the trouble has been that like someone finds a way to make the damage good, through some combination of things, and then now suddenly there is an advantage to doing this like crazy spam. And so that's always kind of been the thing that's taken us a bit by surprise with some of these balance things. So really, that just comes down to better balance and just improving, a lot of those things. But I do appreciate that like there's still concerns around visual clarity. I mean, so like another one, right, was like ground fire can be annoying and that kind of stuff. Like there's certain things that can like be really spammy and kind of bad, and we probably just need to adjust the effects in some cases. But the issue once again there is that I don't want it to turn into like maybe this is a bit of a deep reference, but you don't want it to turn into the kind of like Quake 3 scene of like
That's
just
deep.
set textures to nothing and all that kind of stuff, right? Like you do want like some level of visuals to look reasonable. So yeah, it's just a tough balance, and we just like have to slowly grind out and get there.
I'm sure you've seen or heard the feedback about maybe implementing a visual opacity slider for player character effects. Is
Yeah,
that
I'm not
something?
really a fan of that kind of thing, because like I, it, look, I understand the desire for it, but the I do think that it's better just to like fix skills individually until you get to the point where it's not a problem anymore. Just making everything invisible, I'm just like not a fan of. I really don't like it in games when like something happens and you don't see it. And like also, by the way, just turning having there are a lot of effects. If you made them transparent, they would suddenly be very expensive. Just as a random side note, since transparencies do cost more than opaque things in computer
Really?
graphics.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's because you have to draw two things in that one spot, right? Like if something's transparent, you have to draw all the things of it that are there. But if something's opaque, then the thing behind it is not drawn anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So another brief density question here that people have asked about. And I know you already mentioned that you don't want people to feel like this, but there's a lot of worry that the game is going to turn into a walking simulator now that the packs are this much smaller.
Well,
and that there's
certainly it's not going to be that.
Not
It's just not going to be that, right? Like it's just not going to be that. I mean, do you feel that way, like in the early in game,
Oh,
or
I
like,
don't.
towards the end of the campaign?
I don't
Right.
feel that at all. No.
Right. Well, then there you go. Right. I mean, it is only like it hasn't been nerfed below that. Like it's not like it gets like lower over time, right? I mean, it just doesn't.
And I think
Go
one thing that's
higher than that.
not in the 0.4 patch notes that was in 0.3.1, a lot of map sizes in Endgame were reduced by a tremendous degree. So maybe some people who might have bounced, they don't recall that. So I think everything is scaled a little bit down too. You mentioned targeted nerfs a second ago, so I want to skip ahead in my question list, Jonathan, and talk about something that is on everyone's minds. One of my friends said, remove it from the game. The Roa. Okay, I'm not a Roa enjoyer at all. I can't get into it. I know it's powerful. I'm not an enjoyer. Lots of people are Roa enjoyers. So Jonathan, can you give me like a dissertation on how the Roa is a balanced thing in PoE2 right now?
Right. Well, I'll preface this by saying that I'm not primarily a balanced person. Like there really is more Mark's domain, but at least the Roa, for whatever reason, the Roa got buffed when the sprint came out, and like that was kind of wrong. So like that's getting undone. It's kind of now back to just being normal movement speed again. And then also I think the spirit cost is probably a little bit too low. Like it probably just needs to increase a little bit. Like it shouldn't necessarily be the case that like it's completely mandatory to actually play. But I mean, yeah, look, it's powerful, right? For sure. But like I don't necessarily think it's going to be across. Like I think it's capable of being balanced. Like I don't think there's a problem there. If you get the right spirit cost, you get the right numbers. But I think the key important thing is just that it does. I don't think anything less than 100%. Like I don't think anything less than having it be that you stay at exactly your normal move speed when you use it will feel fast. So that's kind of why it needs to have that element of it at least. But yeah, I think it's just a question of just make sure the cost is right, and then it should be okay. Yeah, like as I said, it has had some balance adjustments in 0.4.
Yeah, movement speed's very powerful in PoE2. So I mean, people are blasting screens with the Roa from off screen while the warrior, rolling into combat up in melee. So okay.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that the warrior has an exact problem with that. I think it's more just that you had the dominant build being the lightning arrow stuff. So like you just ended up being kind of feeling that way. But then on the other hand, like the next meta will shift, and then you'll find the warrior is the best. And I'm sure that since the druids had so much attention,
let's do it.
The druid will end up being a pretty common one in 0.4.
Do you think druid's gonna be meta, Jonathan? Do you think it's gonna be like busted? People are gonna find some crazy interactions?
I think that it's very likely just because of the fact that it's had so much attention. Like, I mean, so right now, the thing that we're kind of doing this week a lot is like testing in-game viability of like as many things as we can do. So we're trying to make sure that like, okay, so for example, right, like we were looking at like, okay, the like minion stuff with all the wolves, it's just not really kind of working in an in-game context. And like now we're like, okay, let's try to add some support to the tree to make it happen, right? So now, for example, we just added a keystone, which is that you can use a scepter with a talisman in order to get spirit as an animal. But then the keystone downside is that you got minus 50% spirit. So you kind of have to like you can't quite necessarily get as many minions as a minion character would have. But it kind of like lets you do it makes that from a spirit perspective possible to do like minion stuff as a druid as an animal to get the kind of like pack leader wolf build working. And the other thing we did was he said, okay, there's a notable that will make it so that your rage bonuses apply to your minions, so that you can get
Oh, wow.
Like actually get the damage to a good place, with your wolves and that kind of stuff, right? So we're like, okay, we're just being very careful to look at the individual builds that someone might want to try and be like, okay, let's try and make sure that there's support in the tree for that kind of stuff. So that's really what a lot of this week is kind of going into, just those kind of like, just make sure that there's the options there for someone, and that might be a unique, it might be a keystone, it might be a notable, like just try to make sure there's something there that can make each build that we want to do work. And so that's kind of, it just making sure there's that in-game scaling.
That's exciting. I think I heard Gazzy from across the Atlantic, like howling when you said those two keystones.
Right.
About the druids and minions, there's just wolves, right? It's the wolf pack. Does it require spirit to
in terms
reserve?
of the ones, in terms of the ones that come with you. So you've actually got a so there's two ways to get wolves. You've got the what's it called, the reservation gem, the spirit gem, that gives you a pack, and that gives you up to 6 wolves that respawn like a normal minion.
Okay.
And then you've got the mark, where when you kill monsters, it summons a wolf, and with that one you can get like another, I don't know, 10, 15, like bunch more.
Geez.
So you can have like a pretty sizable pack if you're going for that. But yeah, it's just a question of making sure the stats of them can actually get to like reasonable levels compared to other minion builds, to make sure that's viable.
Okay. Do you see more animal companions coming in the distant future once the game is shipped?
We could potentially do more of that stuff. I mean, like, there's still plenty of other minion things going on, kind of adjacent, right? So you've got any kind of int minion stuff going on. Obviously, it's not in theme with the druid so much, but yeah, like we could probably do some more animals. But for the time being, we didn't think we really needed more to sort of make the druid work. And like, the druid isn't primarily a minion build, right? Like, it really is only the case if you're doing that whole kind of pack leader fantasy. That's like the main minion fantasy you'd have as a druid. So yeah, that we want to make sure at least sure that one was working.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks sweet. I mean, the Tundra Wolf looks amazing. So I think I'm going to gravitate toward that eventually after I try out the bear.
All of your other wolves that you have, by the way, turn into snow wolves when you turn into a snow wolf. So like your whole pack gets the upgrade. So it's kind of cool.
Attention to detail, pretty sweet. All right, we're going to go back to a little bit of game balance / identity. This is, I think, the number 2 other thing that people have just been piping up about, and that is charge generation, charges, and totems. Okay, Jonathan, so lay it on us. Why did you guys decide to go with this design of spell totems and ancestor totems in PoE2, where you require the 3 charges to summon them and upkeep them? What's going on there? Because a lot of people...
The main thing that I don't want is for it to turn into a situation where basically any spellcaster build is a totem build. Like, I don't want it to be that just totems are just strictly superior to spellcasting. That's kind of important. So that's the main thing. And the charges were just a good way to kind of make it so that, like, okay, if you're going totems, if you want to do totems as your primary thing, what we want to be doing is providing ways to get there by, like, there are uniques that are available that can, fix that problem for you. Like, you can do a totem build, and in fact, we are going to be showing so we're actually going to make a video about like a bunch of in-game builds for Druid pretty soon, just to kind of show like people like, okay,
really?
here's some just viable things that you can make, just like made by our design team of, like, that you can do things. And that's not to say those are all the builds or they're even the best builds. They're just, here's some builds that our design team decided to come up with to show off at in-game. And one of them that we were doing is the, a pure spell totem build. Like, you can do it, and it's completely viable. Yeah, you just need to, use the uniques and various mechanics around doing it. So at the same time, the other thing as well is that I want using charges to feel like it gives you a significant bonus. Otherwise, they just feel pointless, right? Like if it just, certainly shouldn't be just a thing where, like you don't. Okay, put it this way. You just need to make sure that, like, the first time you get a charge and then you use it, it feels like a significant upgrade over the base skill.
Right.
Now, in order for that to happen, there needs to be a certain level of difficulty in order to attain them. So yeah, we just need to make sure there's a certain cost there. And it actually has been pretty hard to design the mechanics in such a way where it's like you can do it all the time, but also it doesn't feel like you just get them for doing nothing. Like, it's kind of that tough balance to strike there. And so that's what we're really trying to do. So yeah, I mean, really, it just comes down to those elements, right? Like, just don't make it so that every spellcaster is a totem build. That's like a hard challenge to even meet, even by itself, right? Because not having to cast the spells is like a pretty substantive benefit to have. So there needs to be some kind of cost there.
And I'll call it out because I've played for a very long time. In PoE1, all the best spell builds were totem builds, and I always was like, oh man, I want self-cast to be fun. Like, it just feels better when you're playing. It's like something, I guess, kind of hard to describe, but there's something different about actually casting the spell, controlling where it goes instead of just boop, popping up your totem and
Right.
running around in circles. So yeah, okay.
So the
Yeah.
other benefit you do get though is that effectively the spell totem can serve as an ultimate type ability for people who aren't specking entirely into that way of playing. So effectively, what you get there is, and there's actually something sort of interesting that we've been looking at in a few cases. So for example, the Wyvern Flame Blast. In its kind of default incarnation. So this is just aside from totems, right?
Yeah.
So this is the one where the Wyvern flies up and starts burninating everything. In its sort of default incantation of that, it's an ultimate really. You should be using it as like a boss ability if you get the opportunity. You know, like you heavy stun the boss, you start burning it, and the way that one works, by the way, is that it actually stacks ignites that add together. So unlike other ignite in the game, which you have to do a big hit.
Yeah.
This is a type of ignite where like every time you hit them, the ignite grows and grows and grows and grows. So like that one there is like a kind of interesting thing with that particular thing. So it actually works really well against bosses where you can stack the ignite really huge. But we also wanted to make sure that ability, if you want to, you can do a build which is going to get you to the point where you're just like burninating like the whole map, like you're just continuously flying around in the air for ages doing things. But it does take like, you need this unique and you need like a few things like to get to the point of you're doing that. It does require a little bit of effort, but the key thing is we want to make sure it is possible to use an ultimate ability as a clearing skill should you really want to go down that route. It's just not the default case, as I said.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, with that ignite thing, just because I saw you were kind of reacting interestingly to that, we are going to change incinerate to use that system as well. So yeah, like it's a kind of a different thing we're trying out.
That's very exciting. I was going to ask if it was going to roll out to some other skills to change up how ignite works because people are really looking for that.
Just those two for now.
Okay.
We might consider doing it for some other stuff, but I think the theme of the skill has to be like continuous burning for that to make sense as the way.
And is burninating a word? I've never heard this before, but I heard you say
it's probably just it's probably just early internet. There was a meme video from a flash animation actually from a long time ago. Don't even worry about it. No one should really have to worry about it. It's just
just really brief question while we're talking about the Wyvern. Does Black Flame Covenant work with it or not? Because we saw it was like an attack based gem on the gem, and Black Flame Covenant works with spells only. So I think I'm right.
I think I mistakenly thought that it did at one point and said something about that, but I think it probably doesn't because it's not a spell. So yeah, it is an attack. Yeah,
is there any way in the future there would be a keystone where we could get the same sort of thing?
I'll have to think about that. We were thinking, well, no, whatever. I won't talk about that.
Oh, you can leak it. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Okay. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, that totem one. One more follow-up on it. Generating charges in boss fights. Is that something that people are going to be easily able to do? Because that's one of the big complaints that I saw that, I know you just said you'll be able to do a soul totem build, so it must be possible. There's just a few pieces in place.
Sure. But then in terms of just the general way as well, we've got things like that a little bit like in the kind of more mid-game options for that. Well, I mean, even early game, really. You've got things like Wing Blast that can generate charges. And like, so for example, what we're doing with that is like during regular clearing, it only generates charges very occasionally. For boss fights, you'll generate 3 charges when you use it on a Prime for Stun monster. So you can do that sort of, but as I said, in that context, it's more of an ultimate type ability. So if you want to do the kind of like pure totem build, you're going to need to find a solution to that isn't just in the like base skill set. It's going to involve supports and uniques and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, moving over to a melee focused question here. So back when a bulk of the melee skills were first developed, I believe the game didn't have WASD implemented, so a lot of movement was baked into the skills to make them feel really good. And then when WASD was implemented, you guys went back and you added movement to a lot of the ranged based or spell casting skills, but the movement is still baked into the melee skills. Do you guys see a world where you could go back and you could add moving while attacking to some of these melee-based skills? Because it does feel so much, I just got to say, it feels so much better when you can maintain full control of your character throughout the course of a skill animation.
A couple of things with that. So for range, moving while attacking feels good, but for melee, what you actually end up with is a thing that feels really floaty. So you there are some games that do that, but I just feel like you end up with very floaty, like non-punchy animations. So what you generally have to do is you have to kind of lerp into get some kind of point of the attack where it becomes fixed. And that's what we try to do with our targeting thing, where like, so for example, the easiest one to show that on is like double slam. So it's called rolling slam.
Rolling slam.
Where effectively like you can steer it the whole way. And effectively when we're talking about moving while attacking, it's really more about skills like that where you can do, like attacks, like the movement is still built into the animation, so you don't feel floaty, but you still have a level of control over that sort of stuff, and that's what we sort of try to do with our attacks, is like try to have it so there's a level of control, but it's not fully just like moving arbitrarily. Because as I said, you do end up feeling very floaty. So that's just a sort of really comes down to sort of a feels thing, and like as I said, when you do try that kind of stuff, it doesn't end up feeling that great. There's even things that we've tried before along those lines, and yeah, as I said, it just never kind of really felt right. So that's why we didn't end up doing it.
Is it something that we would perhaps see with future melee weapons, where maybe you can move while attacking with a sword or an axe as opposed to mace?
As I said, it really is more about the individual skills and like how they specifically function. Like I don't think that we would just generally have, as I said, we wouldn't have completely freeform movement like that. You'll even notice like in a lot of other melee games, if you like you can have a thing where you can lerp into an attack, and by that what I mean is that you've got a bit of control for part of it, but it's like slows down into like being part of the animation at a certain point. And like we'll probably experiment a little bit more with that, but I don't think we'd want to just be like, okay, it's just like full floaty, just like move in any like arbitrary direction while you're attacking type things. I really don't think it feels very good.
Okay. Now this next one, I know you've been asked it many times, but it was the #1 most requested question that I ask about again. And it simply is, why does the warrior have so many downsides on the tree and gear, whereas witch, monk, ranger comparatively have none? I know you guys have talked about this a lot, but could you...
Well, I mean, fundamentally, it really is just that... So, it's funny because I don't think there's necessarily like an extreme number in the warrior area, but the funny thing is when we put a downside on something, we also make the upside higher. And so people then see like, okay, what are the best nodes? And they're going to see these big numbers on like some of these on some of these nodes, and they're going to say, okay, well, like, I want that, but I don't want the downside. And so it's kind of like the reason that they attract attention is just because of the fact the numbers are higher. If we didn't have the downside on there, obviously the upside would also be lower. So it's kind of like just that thing. Now, what was that? Sorry?
Is it a packaging problem?
Not necessarily. But as I said, personally, I like the idea that you can spec into different things like that. And so, for example, like a commonly cited one would just be like, you've got like more damage and then less attack speed, right? You've got those kinds of nodes.
Yep.
And it's like the ideal way that you should be thinking about that is an opportunity where it's like, well, what can I use this with that is not going to care about the downside particularly? And right, especially when you've got weapon spec points where it's like, okay, these couple of abilities, I don't care about attack speed, so I'm gonna get that node for that case and that kind of thing. Like, like you want to try and you see each downside as more of an opportunity, in my opinion. So honestly, I feel like I'd want to see more nodes like that around for other parts of the tree, right? Like just do more of that kind of thing. You don't want to go overboard with it, right? Like you don't want to just like every node's going to downside. That just gets tiring. But yeah, I think there's a few there. I don't think there's necessarily too many there, but they certainly attract attention because of the fact that the upsides are higher on them as well.
They do. Yeah, there's not as many kiss curse things on the right side of the tree as the left. Like
right. I mean, yeah, we can.
Yeah,
as I say, I think there's room for adding more of those, honestly.
Now, how about those are openly advertised? How about the hidden penalties? I know one that still exists to this day is the penalty for movement speed on heavy armor. Is that something that you guys would ever want to remove?
I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with it myself. I've always kind of found it to be just like, like it's just an interesting thing once again to build around on different characters. I don't like part of the reason to do it on the heavy armor is just that like tanky feeling you can kind of have from like, I'm a strong warrior, and so I think it just sort of works on that level. But yeah, as I said, I don't feel particularly inclined to get rid of that one, I have to say.
Yeah. All right, I know you've been asked about this a lot. I think if you added a rhinoceros mount for the warrior, I think all your problems would be solved. Then people could like ride on the rhino, wielding the giant mace, feel like they're on the Roa. Be good.
Well, I don't know about a rhino, but yeah, we'll see. I suspect that more mounts is more of a post 1.0 type of feature.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one that I'd like to hear you talk about, especially considering we're getting the druid. So last patch in 0.3, you added the ability to instantly weapon swap, as opposed to it having a delay in 0.1.0.2. But I didn't see a lot of builds that utilize the multi-weapon swap capabilities. They usually stick to just one weapon. Now, moving forward to 0.4, I know you're encouraging the form shifting and all that. Do you have thoughts on why people aren't specking into multiple weapons, like a quarterstaff and a spear, or a crossbow and a mace?
I wouldn't say it's that unusual. Like, I mean, you certainly do see it, and I think you'll see it more and more over time. I mean,
Mhm.
like the mechanics are there to allow for that kind of thing. Like there's generally speaking, like I sort of suspect that one of the reasons is that something I've noticed is that people when they see it, they almost feel bad about it rather than good in some cases, where they're like, oh, like it's just an exploit that you're using this other ability from this other class to like just you get this one effect. And it's like, well, that is kind of the point, right? Like if there's another class that has a thing that like, that allows you to get this thing more easily than your current class, then yeah, I mean that's kind of the reason why that exists, right? So like I don't know, I feel like you do see quite a lot of it. I think maybe people have a different imagination in their mind about what it might be, like what that would look like. But yeah, I mean what it does look like is you're trying to find a combo that can work, and that's why we have all these different sort of synergies around between different weapons and like the shared mechanics, right? So you've got things like armor break and charges and random stuff like
Yeah.
that kind of like allow you to sort of potentially get better things. Now for the druid, you're right. We're leaning into weapon swap here specifically because of the fact that you've got the hybrid melee and caster stuff going on, and so there's a lot more specific synergy in that case. And you kind of will need to be able to learn how to do the weapon swap. And I guess what we might see from that is more people just being generally aware of the options there, and then potentially doing more stuff with build creation. But as I said, I wouldn't say it's like not happening now, and certainly there's like no real downsides to doing so. So, I'd say that it's a thing that happens for sure.
Okay. Building on this point, do you think in the future you'll bake more cross-class synergies into skills? For example, when I saw the Druid primal skills, the elemental ones, I was like, oh, I wonder if they have
Right.
infusions baked into them. That's something you
Right.
guys think about?
We did think about the infusion case. In the end, we did decide to keep that to be like for the elemental spellcaster
Right.
stuff specifically, like so for the sort set of skills.
Hmm.
Um, but like look, I do like doing that kind of stuff. I just didn't in this particular case. It didn't feel quite right because there weren't like it didn't feel like there was a full elemental cycle in the same exact way that the like to justify the infusions being in there, and it would feel a bit weird to just have like one skill or two skills like have it. So in the end, it kind of we decided to not do the infusions and just keep it as a mechanic for the sock.
Okay. Touching on infusions just a little bit more, you guys are leaning
Hmm.
into that mechanic with remnants as well for like the Acolyte of Chayula. Obviously, the Acolyte received
Hmm.
pretty tremendous number buffs this time around. I've seen some people talk about how the payoff for going around and collecting the remnants or the infusions isn't necessarily worth like how much damage they're getting from it or the effect afterwards. Is that
Right,
something
right.
you guys are keenly like looking into and making sure that it's always worthwhile at the end of the day?
I think there's a few things going on with that
Yeah.
that really just come down to a lot of balance numbers. So, like one of the things that I haven't been doing this work myself, but Mark has, is we've been increasing the durations of a lot of things in this balance pass. Like one of the things that in PoE1, the sort of standard duration for something was kind of like 4 seconds. In PoE2, it kind of needs to be longer to actually be worthwhile. So, like 6, 8, and 10 in some cases. So, generally speaking, like a lot of these numbers have sort of ended up as the similar numbers to what PoE1 had for certain things, or just like people just used to being like, okay, if you've got a duration, just put 4 seconds as a kind of a default.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think in PoE2 you actually need those numbers to be longer to sort of make things work. So that's been a thing to kind of just increase durations to make it actually worthwhile. And also means you don't feel as frantic, like feeling like, oh, I have to use this before it goes away and that kind of stuff. Like there's just a lot of that sort of stuff that can kind of improve the feeling of that. But the other thing as well is just increasing the there's more nodes or like buffing nodes that make pickup radiuses be larger as like another axis that you can do to kind of make the like if you it should be possible to get your pickup radius to the point where like it effectively like changes the dynamics of entirely, so you don't have to worry about actually going to pick them up. They just kind of come to you because
Yeah.
the pickup radius is far enough away. Like if you want to spec into that, right? It's another build axis you can do. So you kind of just do this stuff. And so as I said, it's more of a question of just balance numbers, I think, to sort of get the feel right. And yeah, the durations of things is really goes a long way to that.
Okay. Swapping gears over to item rarity for a little bit. Now, in this
Mhm.
interview with Ziggy D, you and Mark mentioned that in the future, and I'd like to clarify, you guys are going to remove item rarity from gear. You just don't know what to replace it with yet. Is that correct?
I am not going to promise anything because
Okay.
like we can see how like things go. But like as I said, right now I would prefer to remove it, and it's really just a question of what to replace it with. So
Okay.
that's like kind of my feeling about it right now. But yeah, look, it's gonna there's still some arguments in the other direction, but look, this seems to be generally what people prefer. And at this point, I'm sort of pretty sympathetic to that. So that's what I prefer to do. It's funny though, because it does can seem trivial, like, oh, surely you can come up with another mod to come up to replace that. But it has to be on all gear. It has to have some level of like, uh, it has to feel like it's something you can specialize in that isn't damage on your build that you actually feeling meaningfully need, which is quite tricky. Like in order to make it so that there's like something that you're trading off when you're getting these mods on your gear. So I don't think it's like okay to just be like a completely junk useless mod. Like there needs to be something where it's like okay, any character might want this, but it's also something you would only want to worry about at the point where you've already like sorted your damage and resistance and other sort of problems.
Mhm.
So like that's the kind of thing that it needs to be able to do. So yeah, that does make it tricky.
I will just say I had 0% item rarity and 0.3. Had a great time, you guys. Throw that out there.
Sure, you don't need it. Like
You
you
don't
don't.
need
It
it.
absolutely is not necessary.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of misunderstanding about exactly what it does and how much it affects things and so on, and that doesn't really help. And part of the reason for that is just because it is so complicated and how it works, and like it kind of can't be any other way than complicated just due to the nature of all the various things that are going on in the item drop system.
Two follow-ups there. Have you guys ever considered releasing the kind of formula behind it because there's been so much community speculation, or is that something you want to keep close to your chest?
We really don't want to do that because item drops are something that you want to be able to tweak how they work and so on. And like, there's like it would mean that every single time we change anything, people would be like on us, like rats up a drain pipe. So it's kind of like we want to be able to have that at least as something that we can like fiddle around with a little bit. But the other thing as well is that like it's so tricky. There is a lot of emergent complexity that comes out of the rules that it has in terms of how like what results in what as far as like the final drops are concerned. And so yeah, I don't even think it's like even is that understandable. Now the same is true of the stat system, right? And yet PoE what do you call it, the sorry, the name's fallen out of my head, the thing that you use to make builds.
Path of building.
Path of building, sorry, yes. The path
Okay,
of
I don't
building.
use it
So I
either.
mean, things like path of building exist. So it's not like people wouldn't make a model of it, right? Like they would,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I just, like I just think we'd prefer not to have to go down that road.
Okay, burninating and now rats up a drain pipe. That's two things I'm adding
Maybe
to
that
my
that might be an
vocabulary.
Australasian slang potentially.
That's good.
So I'm not sure.
And then one extra thing, I saw people talking about how the changes to item rarity this patch reduced its values on gear. Wouldn't
Yeah.
that have the effect of more people wanting to try to put as much item rarity on their gear? Because now it has lesser values across all your gear slots. Now it becomes more of a coveted stat. That kind of acting in reverse, or
So I don't necessarily think so. So
okay,
last time we lowered the numbers in a way that didn't affect what the numbers displayed on items were, and I think that actually in retrospect it would have been better to do the other way around because people still see a number that they still assume has a certain effect. So this time we decided to do it in the way of just reducing the numbers on the gear, which like at the end of the day you still have to get the you still have to get like the mod, like you still only get one mod per gear slot, right? So right, like it is a strict nerf to what you can do. But I believe that we also adjusted the formula at the same time. So like in terms of what the max that it affects. So as far as I'm understanding, like it means that like you don't need more of your gear to have item rarity on it. Like it's just that the displayed number and the cap is now lowered at the same time, so that you kind of like you've got that feeling of like okay, like I can see this having a lesser effect than what it would have had before. Just sort of communicate that a bit better.
okay, let the speculation run rampant. Let's go to a fun question. I don't know if you have the stats on this, but I'll ask you anyway. So for Path of Exile 1, we can see Steam achievements of like who's killed Hillock and who's finished the campaign, who's taken out the Searing Exarch. Do you have those type of stats internally for Path of Exile 2? And do you know like the percentage of people who have killed the Miller, finished the campaign, and killed the Arbiter of Ash?
I actually don't know what those are offhand. We can get them. Like we do have stat collection that for that kind of thing. But yeah, it would just be a question. Not so. So one of the things with this is I normally only ask for stats about things if I'm actually got like a change in mind that I want to do in response to those stats.
Okay.
There's one of these mistakes people can make sometimes where they effectively just like look at a bunch of stats to see what jumps out. And the problem with that is that you can get outliers that then cause you to make bad decisions. So I sort of prefer to be like, before I go and like use a stat for something, I'm like, okay, what would I do if the stat was, this value? What would I do if it was that value? And kind of know the answer to that before I ask for the stat in order to prevent myself from making decisions based on just like looking at a bunch of stats and just finding the outliers.
I know that you were using stats a lot, and I think it was 0.2 with volatile plants. You found out that it was killing so many players, and you made changes based on those stats. Have there been any for 0.3 going into 0.4 that have stood out to you?
Not that I'm particularly aware of, but as I said, it's not kind of the domain I normally work in for
Okay.
that kind of balance. So yeah, but it's as I said, it's the kind of thing that we'll look into when we like. I mean, a really common situation is if people are complaining about something, and we're like we don't understand it. That's a good time to go to the stats to be like, okay, well, let's try to find out why, what's actually going on here, like what's occurring.
Okay. Question about Fate of the Val a little bit and its loot. So we obviously have the temple that we're building. Is this going to be something that's influenced by item rarity, and are we getting drops from here, or are they all in like reward curios and chests and all that stuff?
So it's a mix because the the monsters in the temple just have regular item drops, and those like effectively get juiced by mods that the rooms can give. So effectively, it can mean that you got this sort of more traditional way that you can juice mods, like you can juice rarity of things in that way. But then there's also particularly like fixed drops, and a lot of the room, like most generally speaking, most of the rooms will have some kind of drop like that. But the way that it's often delivered is in some kind of crafting device that you can either use right away or you can take the currency from, or like in the higher levels and that kind of thing. So like there's a lot of kind of fixed drops or like fixed uniques and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the rewards just come from those sort of fixed elements, which you will know that you're going to get because you've got a certain room. So obviously people will have to like work out like what comes from what and everything. There's not that many rooms, but then they do have different levels, and so like generally speaking, they get more. The things get more powerful as you go up, and then also you've got the stuff where there's like there are extra reward rooms that you get for killing the architect and that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of fixed drops in the league for sure, but yeah, more traditional stuff from just from regular monster killing.
And how high can you juice up the temple? Do you expect it to be on par with the rewards that people are getting from maxed out maps and the like, or does it kind of go a
Yeah,
little
it
bit
should
better?
absolutely be. So I mean, the intention was to scale it into endgame, like both in terms of difficulty as well as the rewards. So that's why I've got the whole like tier 3 room
Okay.
thing going on where they give mods, and like you can stack a lot of that stuff. It can get very very hard. The uh, thing that I think people should understand, just by the way, which is probably something we should communicate in some way in the game as well, is that you don't have to keep killing the architect necessarily. It can be a better strategy to not kill the architect and instead just build up the temple with lots and lots of rooms if your goal is like kind of like max end game juicing. Because the architect has got certain rewards that they can give you with specific reward rooms, but it does like destroy more of the temple when you kill him.
Okay.
So like if you want to build the biggest temple to get like the most maximum amount of just like traditional rewards in the sense of just like juicing individual monsters, the best strategy is like don't kill the architect, instead just like finish the rest of the temple, and then build more and get it as large as you can to get the most mods possible.
Right.
So there's kind of like a few strategies. Like you've got like architect killing, which is going to get you reward rooms. You've got like just build the temple big and just get traditional drops, or you've got like Zeri kills, which is going to getting the Zeri rewards and that kind of stuff. So there's kind of a few different strategies you could have there.
Now, this league, one of the big things I saw from a lot of players who didn't play Path of Exile 1, PoE2 was their first Exile game. They
Hmm.
saw you guys presenting this league mechanic and their minds just exploded. They're like, oh my gosh, the
Right.
complexity, this is wild. Have you guys thought about that? Does it get a little bit in the weeds sometimes with it, or can you kind of just build your temple and go and expect to have a
You
good
can just
time?
build your temple, and like because of the fact that it shows you the squares that are gonna upgrade things.
Yeah.
Like now, you can think about it. You be like, you can be thinking on a deeper level of like, I want to upgrade this specifically, so I'm gonna make sure like leave a hole here so like to place the room that goes next to it, that kind of stuff. Like you can think like that, or you can just place things where the bright green is, and you'll honestly do fairly well.
Oh,
Like the UI is definitely like a lot better than what we would have done in the past, and it's actually one of the reasons why I developed the simulation myself, because I was writing the code in such a way to make the UI for communicating the stuff as easy as possible. So like one of the things I was initially like is like if I just made this without thinking about the UI experience, it probably would have gone very differently, because when I was building, I'm like, okay, every single thing you do, you need to be able to show the user exactly what it will do to the temple when you hover it. Like before you commit, you need to see that, which means you need a way to like predict the next state before you've actually committed to the previous one. And that's like just like a thing that's like easy to do when you're building it initially, but would have been hard to bolt on afterwards if I just asked a UI programmer to do that. So like it's that kind of thing that you need to think about really early on. And then there's also the whole idea of just like making sure that you can even like by being able to do that look ahead for each option, you can then say like, okay, will this upgrade anything and that kind of stuff. Like it allows you to to get those UI cues and really well, so it just makes it much better for communication with the players.
yeah. I love hearing the game design tidbits. I swear that's my favorite part of all this, learning all this
Right.
stuff. Okay, you also said that Fate of the Val was your first full league that you built out in Path of Exile 2. You know, it has very in-depth mechanics, it has the new pinnacle boss, it has all these unique crafting capabilities. Is this something that you guys are going to look back to do for the other leagues that were ported to PoE2 from PoE1? So your rituals, your deliriums, do you want to give them the full treatment that I feel like we got with Abyss too? I feel like you might be selling yourself short.
Yeah.
With
So I mean,
Abyss.
Abyss was pretty good for sure.
Yeah.
It's just that this one's even just slightly a bit beyond that, and I feel like put it this way, I would say Abyss was reaching the tier of like stuff that a PoE1 league has been doing, but I feel like this Fate of the Val is more like what we kind of want to be doing for a PoE2 like tier of league in terms of like the amount of stuff going on. Now you're completely right that some of the older leagues are not nearly as good compared to in PoE2. I mean, compared to the newer stuff, and that really is where 050, like with all the in-game stuff we're talking about, like it's about that, right? Like it's about making all those league mechanics feel more full, have more things going on. You know, like making sure that and like when we talk about the Atlas tree, it's like like a lot of the reason why the Atlas tree is not as good is because there aren't as many things that it can do to the leagues that are in the Atlas. And things like that. There's like stuff like that needs to be addressed. So it's a lot of that stuff that needs to happen to kind of make the in-game feel better. And yeah, it really is about making those leagues feel more interesting.
Revisiting what we talked about at the top of the interview with endgame being pushed to 0.5, what was the decision making like with you guys when you said, okay, we're gonna push endgame and we have Fate of the Val coming out? Is there a reason why you guys focused more on the league, which looks awesome, as opposed to the endgame core game changes? Was there like a specific reasoning there, or was it a timing thing?
It wasn't necessarily a question between the league and the end game, because you need to have a league. You just have to. Like people will not come back if there isn't a league. So like that's just mandatory. So really it comes down to what other content is going to be in the patch, and it really would have been, if we wanted to push to get the end game stuff done, we probably would have had to sacrifice the druid, which I really didn't want to do. There was a point where we were like, could we sacrifice the druid to be able to do this in-game stuff? And we decided, you know what? I think that's probably a worse trade. But even then, I think it probably wouldn't have delivered quite the what we needed to have, just because like there are some for content like that. There's quite a lot of things in the deep in the pipeline you should do, like in terms of just like modeling and animation, all that sort of stuff that needs to happen relatively early. So I don't think it would have been as good as what it will be when it's in 050 instead. So I feel like we would have compromised in two ways. We would have had like no druid, and we would have had a worse in-game expansion as well. So I definitely don't think it was the right move. It's going to definitely be better to do it later.
It's definitely fair. Okay, this one's a question for myself that I'm curious about. The release in China, the official release happened in 0.3. I'm curious, what was the reception in China, and how did it compare to the original 0.1 release, the global release?
Well, it's going pretty well there, but honestly, I don't have like a huge amount to say about it. Like, it's another market. It's published by Tencent there, and they kind of do that job, and they handle most of the stuff going on there.
Okay. Quick follow-up. What piece of community feedback during 0.3 helped shape 0.4 the most? Is there one thing that really stands out to you guys as, oh my gosh, we definitely need to fix this? And you can't say endgame, okay?
Yeah. I honestly don't know that I could pick any one particular thing. I mean, I guess probably one of the things that's just been generally on our mind is just build diversity and that kind of stuff, like trying to improve that. So there's been a lot of like, balance work and so on going on behind the scenes, and they're still ongoing as well. But like it's sort of hard to sort of pick that up and be like, hey, this feature was specifically inspired by that, because it really is just like a lot of smaller things. A big goal I have. I mean, look, you've got like the performance work is obviously something I'm really focused on. The balance work is something Mark's really focused on. These are kind of like the two big like things that we're really trying to make sure are getting better. And both of us, unfortunately, in both cases, are like there's still more to do, right? There's still so much more to do. And Mark as often will say, like the problem with balance is that you could infinitely do it. Like you could he could literally spend his entire life doing only that and never anything else, and it would still feel like it wasn't enough. So that's one of those things. But yeah, we will get to a point though where I think the build diversity in particular is a lot better.
The ascendancy buffs were pretty exciting. I was shocked to see almost every single one was buffed. What did you guys look at in particular to make those decisions? Do you guys use like PoE Ninja? Is it primarily just reading about the feedback? How should people get their
Um,
feelings about Ascendancy classes being more exciting
It
to you?
really is more of a question for Mark, this one.
Oh,
But
okay.
from my understanding, I mean, look, he does do a lot of research on Ninja and that kind of stuff. He's looking at things, but ultimately, he's the question. A lot of the thing is like, why is this not played? Is the hard part sometimes because the attention usually goes on the things that are being played. That's what people talk about a lot of the time. So it's a much harder thing to look at. Okay, like here's something that isn't played. Why? And that's really the question he's asking most of the time. Just like what would it take to get me to play this is the question that you need to be asking yourself when you're doing these balance things.
Smart, smart. Okay, shifting gears to the Druid, which is something that I was incredibly excited to finally see in Path of Exile 2 after waiting for it for so long. You guys
Hmm.
introduced two initial ascendancies, the Oracle and the Shaman, and while they
Hmm.
look interesting, they didn't necessarily vibe with me. I have to pose to you. What happened to an
Hmm.
Unga Bunga shape-shifting focus like ascendancy where it's like, oh, you get bonuses for being a bear and swapping into
Right,
this
right,
different
right.
form? Is that a plan, or is that something you guys want to refrain from, since shape-shifting forms have kind of been baked into weapons? And I know you don't really want to
Right.
attach
So
ascendancy to a weapon.
generally speaking, ascendancies don't do things that are like we try to make it so they can be used on many classes with many builds.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we just said like here's the shapeshifting ascendancy class, everyone would just do that, and then there kind of wouldn't be any room left over for
Mm-hmm.
other things. And so that's why we would prefer to not do that if we can. I think Mark even already said that like we might do a more shapeshifting focused class for a third one, but if we did, it would have to not even say the word shapeshifting in it. It would have to be like very much implying shapeshifting and have a lot of bonuses that make sense and be in theme for shapeshifting, while not necessarily actually requiring you to be shapeshifted in order to make it so that it can work across many things. And you'll see that across all the ascendancy classes. Like we really try to make it so that they're as generally applicable as possible, while feeling like they're very specific.
What was the craziest part of creating the Druid the past 5, 6 years? There a moment that you were just like, why are we even doing
Mm.
this? Like, it's very fun. It's
Well, I
going to be
mean,
cool.
I think I've talked about this before, but like getting the wolf was a challenge.
That's interesting.
And like there was periods where we even cut the wolf, right? Like there was a period where like we're not doing the wolf again, we're going to do something else. Like it ended up being something that people really wanted, and even internally, so we kind of had to do it. But like there's just like it's just really hard. I mean, look, we had another form at one point that we were gonna specialize in that we decided not to do in the end. We were gonna have you turn into a giant plant monster. It was like kind of crazy, but yeah, that's something that it was cool, but it wasn't a wolf.
Yeah.
Like there are things like that we did, but yeah, it's just mostly just been like a real animation challenge, like having to deal with the things that aren't humans.
Was
That's
there a
much harder.
particular iteration of the Druid, whether like a skill or an ascendancy or a form that you haven't talked about that you were excited for but you had to cut? Anything that just
Yeah,
didn't
so
make
definitely the plant monster. It
the
was
plant?
really cool. Like it walked around on vines and it had this like kind of interesting like just like feel to it. I mean, it was the same type of creature as Brambleghast. Like we're like you're gonna be like Brambleghast in terms of like
Okay.
walking around. And it was pretty cool. But as I said, it kind of just didn't really work. And like you do some vine slaps, and then we're kind of like, okay, pretty much the rest of the skill set of this, when you actually try it, just ends up feeling like the same sort of stuff that you had with the nature stuff on the class anyway.
Right.
So like it was cool to be that thing, but it just kind of didn't really make sense in the end.
And people are really vibing with the plant skills too. I see everybody excited to be farmers and to water the plants and everything. Did you expect that sort of reception? Because I'm kind of shocked to see everybody hyped
I mean,
about.
I was really happy with it, honestly. Like the watering the plants thing came relatively late. Like it actually happened while we were trying to work out what support gems we could have for the lightning for the thunderstorm skill. It used to be called Lightning Storm, in fact, and it just had lightning. And I was like, we were trying to design supports, and I was like, okay, like I need to find something else interesting for this to do. I was actually no, was it the supports? Something like that. But anyway, there was some point where we changed over to be like, okay, let's let's add another mechanic to this that can actually make it so that it interacts with the other skills in the class. And I was really happy with that one. And I suspect what we might even end up doing is have the watering concept come onto the ranger at some point in some way. I'm not quite know how yet, but
Cool.
at some point I'll probably try to come up with that because I think it kind of can be quite cool. And we did add all of the watering features to all of the plants that the ranger already has.
Oh, really? Okay, so there's some
Yeah, so you
synergies
can
there.
water all the ranges plants if you want. I mean, currently we're required to do something cross class, but
Okay.
later on, I think we can probably do something interesting with that.
Okay. I want to swap gears and talk a little bit about bosses. back in 0.3, you guys tremendously decreased the health of pinnacle bosses, not bosses of maps or anything. Do you ever see you raising the ceiling of those again, so that maybe they're a little bit more challenging to the top end of builds?
The
People have something to chase after and fight.
the problem with this is that we don't want to limit the number of builds that can be considered viable too much by having the pinnacles be too high in life, and it's especially a little bit. It can be a little bit deceptive when you've got a few things that are completely crazy at the moment, that like can sort of effectively make it seem trivial to a lot of people. Um, but yeah, ultimately, it's like the higher your ceiling is on the pinnacles, the higher the well, effectively the higher bar that a build needs to clear to actually be considered viable. And I think it was just kind of not really quite healthy. Now there could still be some adjustment to this, of course, right? Like we'll adjust it once we have a look, but we have to get the balance into a bit more of a like correct place before we can sort of say that like, okay, here's what the life needs to be. And I mean, look, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we ended up buffing some of that life a little bit, but I don't think it needs. I certainly wouldn't want to be like, okay, this is like 3 times higher and like ultra challenging. Because as I said, as soon as you have something like that, that'll become the bar you need to clear for a build to be viable, and suddenly a bunch of builds just get erased. So that's the challenging part there.
All right. And I also see, and I debated it myself, people talking about the new boss resistance window. This only exists in the patch notes right now, unfortunately. So we don't know how it plays out in game. Could you just give the skinny on why you guys implemented it and how exactly it works?
It's just to prevent preloading of the boss with like all sorts of stuff. Like so. I don't know exactly how long it lasts, but it's not long. It's just basically the first few seconds of the fight. The boss is resistant to stuff. And honestly, in PoE1, a ton of bosses have this. It's just like it's just already a thing. In PoE2, we didn't have it. It's been we're adding it. It just prevents like some of the sort of like weird abuse cases that you'll get of like I'm going to just preload the exact place where the boss is going to stand with all of the effects, and then the boss doesn't even get a chance to move before it dies. So yeah, it's just to prevent that kind of thing.
Okay. A little bit of a quality of life feature regarding the endgame and tablets. Right now, tablets, they have different icons on them, but it's really hard to differentiate, especially since there's no like stash tab for them.
We can probably sort that out. Like I agree that that's something that we just need to fix. I actually brought it up like yesterday with someone, so we might even see if we can fix that before the release. It's possible.
Yeah,
but I'll see. I'll check out on that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I agree. It could be changed.
Okay. This is a fun one here. So the Path of Exile 2 campaign, swapping gears entirely. Are you satisfied with the current difficulty curve for the campaign?
I would say that I mostly am, but there have been some cases where we had problems with weapon types during campaign. Mark mentioned this basically where you just had holes in the progression and you wouldn't really appreciate why it was as a player, but like it meant you just didn't get upgrades for your weapon for pretty significant periods of time in some cases. And so we've effectively plugged those now so that the weapon progression should feel a bit better as you go through. And that should mean that like if you fell into a hole with regard to not being able to get a weapon upgrade in certain places, which was like just an issue, for a lot of the time, then that should be sorted out at least. But that being said, like you do want some things to be harder and some things to be easier. Like generally speaking, what we want is like towards the end of an act, it like ramps up in difficulty and gets a bit harder. And then when you have the next act, you get a little bit of a downgrade again. So you get that sort of feeling of relief a little bit of like, now I'm just fighting regular trash monsters again. And then it kind of ramps up again to get harder again. So that's kind of the ideal curve that we get. And to sort of make things not feel too flat, like you get a bit of variety of experiences.
I'm glad you brought up the weapon drop thing, because that's something that's been brought to my attention quite a bit, and I've experienced it too, where the difference between someone who gets that lucky drop and someone who doesn't. I mean, you can have a 30-second boss fight or a 3-minute long boss fight, and some people, they can't last that entire 3 minutes, unfortunately, and they end up just giving up. Right. So it sounds you guys adjusted essentially seeding.
Well, what more mostly is was just that you'd have situations where you'd have like gaps of like 28 levels before you got a DPS upgrade, just because of the way the weapon types happen to be. Yeah. And like that's obviously not right. So like it should. I'm not going to say it will prevent you from ever having a situation where you would not get a good weapon, but it certainly should reduce the number of cases where that happens quite a lot, just by virtue of improving that.
This also feeds into a topic you guys spoke about a few other days, where there's power in your gear and there's power in more deterministic avenues, the passive tree, your skill gems and all that. And I think during the campaign, it's one area where people can drop off entirely, where if they're not lucky and they're not getting gear upgrades, they can't go somewhere and farm power in their gems or, get more levels in the passive tree, because it's not as powerful if they don't get, that gear drop. So Do you have any? Oh, we talked about this before. Do you have any ideas for like maybe pushing players to the shop or doing the crafting tutorial? I know we spoke about a few months ago.
Mhm.
So like the new player, so they know, like I do. Oh, well, just go check the shop when you level up. You're probably going to get a weapon
Right.
upgrade there. Oh, gamble with the gambler. You're going to get a massive upgrade there. Is that something you would look to put into the game sometime soon?
Well, that's okay. So I do definitely want to put a thing about crafting, a tutorial for crafting, because I do know that's something that's like less obvious. I would sort of hope that people don't need to know about the fact that like there's a shop there, right? I mean, they're
You
there,
would
right? Like
hope.
it should be relatively clear.
I-
Like that one, I don't think there's any like misunderstanding about that. I guess, funnily enough, I think that's more of a PoE1 player experience thing, where like they expect the shop items to be bad. I think people who weren't PoE1 players would generally expect that the shop items can be good because most games do have good shop items. It's just really PoE1 that doesn't. So that could kind of be that kind of issue that's going on with that particular one. As for gambling, I mean, yeah, like people try that generally. I think that's kind of mostly okay. So it's really the crafting. I think that if you're a new player and you don't understand how the crafting works, that can be the thing. Yeah, as I said, that's why we want to do a tutorial there. But I mean, look, you can always grind for items, and you will find better upgrades and stuff like that. You can do it, and the other thing, of course, we want to push you towards is like do more of the side quests, do more of those like extra power giving things that are on the map, and so that might be more we'd want to push people towards because those ones will both give you more drops, but also give you more specific rewards and all sorts
Mhm.
of stuff. Like if you're missing out on those, and you're having a hard time, that'd be where you go like to fix your issue. And we've sort of had a bit of a hard time communicating those as much like as what some other games have done. So I think that's probably where I'd want to try and improve the communication there.
That sounds good. Elaborating a little bit on the crafting side of things.
Hmm.
The last league we had Abyss and we had the bones and that crafting and we had the special
Hmm.
lich modifiers. That was all super cool. It led a
Hmm.
lot of people though to go use resources outside of game because these things, these omens, these bones, they're very valuable and people didn't want to waste
Hmm.
them, right? Or they end up just selling them. And do you have any thoughts on whether or not you guys would ever implement some in-game resource where it tells you, okay, this item has these particular affixes and you can roll these specific modifiers because it has these tags, like all that information in game, because it's all there. You know, you go to PoE2 DB or you go to like Craft of Exile and it's all in the files. It's just not in game. Is that too, like, I don't know. Are you
So
interacting
I
with the
guess there's a
UI too
couple of
much or something? Or
So there's a couple of things about that. So we'd
yeah.
have to make some kind of like I'm not totally against doing this as like a kind of like a mod database almost type of situation, maybe. But I do worry that it will like when you're actually new, that it will still steer you away. So like I kind of want to find a way to do that that doesn't feel wrong.
Mhm.
We did at one point talk about having like a crafting system type window thing that would like help you with that, but it kind of didn't really end up going anywhere for various reasons. That being said, like in some cases with the omens in particular, you had like the homogenizing omens were kind of one of those things where you would have to really using those like does require information that like the game wasn't really giving you. But I think the better in situation in that regard, like for various reasons, was to get rid of them. Like, but look, there's always going to be cases where you can get advantage by going to information sources out of game. Like it's definitely going to be the
Right.
case.
Yeah.
So like on some level, you kind of you've lost that battle before you even started. So I think that surfacing what mods can generate is interesting, and maybe we should do that. But I don't know that I go too much further than that. That's probably about the limit of what I'd say that I'd want to do.
Yeah. No need for like tutorial, just a resource in game to read, you know? Just so people
Right,
are aware of what's gonna happen. Right. I remember I
right.
was so excited when I saw like, oh, the Kurgle modifier and the Ulaman. I was like, oh, what are these? What could they be? And then I thought, oh man, this is probably really costly if I end up using it without, investigating first. So
Right, right,
it this sometimes it can discourage people from experimenting and just lead to, okay, I'm gonna list it on the trade marketplace and not touch it. So that's good to hear.
right.
Now I saw a little bit of confusion on the forums about the increased monster hit points and how ailment thresholds will scale with that. I saw some devs maybe saying, "Oh, well those are two different stats in PoE2, they don't correlate." Have you guys thought about how monsters are going to have higher health now and how that interacts with player ailments?
Uh, I don't know actually what happened with this. My assumption would be that the ailment threshold would not be affected. That's my assumption,
Okay.
but I don't actually know that for sure. So I'd have to actually ask someone to find out what happened with that. But I don't believe it is our intention to make ailments harder to apply. So I would imagine that we would just sort that out. Yeah, like that's not something that we would intentionally do, I would say.
Okay. That's good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, this is a question about bosses again. Now, in PoE2, Pinnacle bosses are the only bosses that I know of that have drop tables. No other mob type has it in the game. Is this something you would look forward to adding to the campaign and specific bosses of zones, sort of like divination card drops in PoE1, so people in solo self-found or in Trade League can target farm certain unique items and the like? Or is this something you'd like to keep reserved for the pinnacles?
Um, I think it's really case by case, and I honestly don't have like an overall philosophy about this, other than just to say that like you do want some like fixed rewards are really important to make different content actually be played. So you do need that. So that's like sort of the main reason why we do that. And other than that, I mean, the general drop pool is you want to keep that exciting as well. The divination card thing we will do eventually in PoE2. Like we've already told people that will come at some point. We've already even given some people free divination cards in those boxes we did ages ago. So we've done that already as well. So that'll happen. I don't have an exact. I'm not going to tell you yet how exactly those are going to be laid out, but yeah, part of the thing you're getting with the divination cards is the ability to target farm certain things. So there'll be an element of that for sure.
All right.
When they do come.
Excited to see that in game. I have two MTX questions for you. The first is related to all of these awesome microtransactions having specific effects attached to them, map devices that track your time in the map, track the number of rares, magic mobs, common mobs in the map, and how they're attached to the actual cosmetic. Is there any way that grinding your games would be able to detach the effect from the cosmetic and let you use it? Because this is some people are saying, oh, I'd buy this, but I don't want to wear the cosmetic, or I don't want to use the cosmetic, or I want to mash them together. Is that something you guys are aware of and looking into?
Over time, we have been doing more of that, like with the tracking scroll stuff that we've been doing and so on. Like for like the sort of global character stats, we've been doing that kind of thing. But then in some cases we do just like part of the excitement and theme of the item is the thing that it does, right? So like, look, it really is case by case. But like, I mean, yeah, sure, we do hear that, and we have been moving a bit more towards that with certain features, but other ones not. Like, and so with the map device thing, for example, like I think it's kind of important that the map device is part of the the thing of that, like it's right in theme with it, and it's what makes it interesting, and so on. So yeah, as I said, I wouldn't want us to get away completely from that, but we have been doing more of it in certain cases of splitting the functionality.
Shifting over to transmog, your developers dropped a big bomb on Reddit a few months ago about a transmog system that's in the works that will allow us to permanently unlock some skins. Do you have any update on that and how it works?
No update yet, but it will happen. It's just not done yet.
Okay. People are very excited for that, let me tell you. They love dressing up their characters in PoE. Okay, the interludes. They were introduced last league. They're here again this league, and they were a huge hit. I loved them. I loved how snappy they were. They told like really concise stories, and the action kept flowing. Now, I'm not asking about a campaign skip. I'm just saying, with the reception of interludes, do you see a future in which you have the PoE2 campaign, 6 acts, and then maybe you guys go back and you add a bunch of other interludes, and you can run either the campaign, or if you've already beaten the campaign, maybe you run a set of 9 or 12 interludes that are a little snappier. You don't have a lot of dialogue. It seems like a middle ground solution that I don't think I'd have ever thought of before. Kind of interesting.
Well, it's not something that I'd really considered, so I guess I'll just put that in the list of things to think about. But yeah, it's not exactly something in my mind for sure.
Okay.
I mean, look, the thing we've said about the interludes is like all that content was really made for endgame. So that's when that we'll put like just extra endgame maps and stuff like that. So we'll use it for that in the short term. But yeah, there's not like a huge amount of dialogue and all that sort of stuff, and that's the stuff that'll go away. And then I guess we could consider using it for some other purpose like that in the future.
Okay.
I guess I could imagine and maybe imagine doing like a custom race or something like that, or I don't know. There'd be probably some way we could use the content and something like that, maybe.
Okay. We talked about this a little bit earlier with the Ignite on the Wyvern and Incinerate, changing up how Ignite works. A lot of people like the fantasy of hitting monsters really, really fast and applying lots of dots on them, as opposed to just the one big hit magnitude that you need to do in PoE2 right now to apply a big dot. Is that a fantasy that you guys are going to keep working on implementing with Bleed, Ignite, or elements like that?
We'll probably do some adjustments, but at the I don't know, like there isn't like an immediately clear, obvious like here's the change that's going to happen here. Like we're gonna have to come up with something different. I think that it's pretty interesting what we've done with the Wyvern,
Yeah.
Flame Breath, and Incinerate. Like I think that can go some way, but I think it's kind of going to come down to individual skills, like what are different ways for. I wouldn't want to change the system in general,
Mhm.
because like. So in PoE1 you could kind of do this, but like the specking was just kind of a few different random multiplicative scalars that didn't really make sense, and I kind of didn't love it. You need like a thematically sensible way for it to happen, that also can't be taken advantage of, and like in a negative way. So like it's kind of a little bit tricky. I do understand that like that is a fantasy, but yeah, like it's I think it's going to come down to individual skills and uniques and stuff like that to sort of enable that. Maybe even a keystone. Like there was some discussion of like a keystone to change ignite into more of a different way to apply it, but we didn't quite work out exactly how that could work yet. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like the core way it works. It'll be more just like unlocked by other mechanics, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Uh, you were talking about builds that you guys were designing for the Druid. You're going to release them in a few
Hmm.
videos leading up to launch.
Hmm.
For any patch in the past, was there a build that you guys discovered or thought about that maybe it's no longer viable, maybe it is, that you guys were really excited for, but nobody discovered it? Is there anything you can think
Uh,
of?
don't know if I can really remember anything particularly. The players
Okay.
usually find much more stuff than what we find, quite frankly.
Okay.
There's just so many more of them, so it's kind of hard to hide things, I would say, as far as mechanics go. Because yeah, people uncover them for sure. The much more likely scenario would be that there was something we thought was viable that ended up not being, but nothing comes to mind about that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask, is there anything that you were like, oh man, this is gonna be
Right,
so
right. Nothing,
busted,
nothing
and
comes to
then
mind, unfortunately.
then the players are like,
Yeah.
wow, this is total crap, Jonathan. We don't want to play this at all. Okay. Question about the future of PoE2 and PoE1. I know a few interviews ago you mentioned that you guys you're looking to hire some producers for the team to help with like the project management loads. Long term, in an ideal world, are you looking at having grinding your games with a Path of Exile 1 team, a Path of Exile 2 team, and some people that work between the teams? Or do you really like the atmosphere that you've curated where people are, working on PoE1, working on PoE2, and they swap between them constantly every 2 months?
We have been splitting people up a little bit more, and that's mostly because like having to deliver something every 2 months is really quite hard.
Right.
Like just mentally in terms of people,
Burnout.
trying to work on this stuff. So like we've actually been doing that a little bit more. And I mean, look, eventually it'll be good if like the most people can only have to worry about a release every 4 months rather than two. So that would kind of be the goal. But yeah, it requires like having two of everything, right? Like you have to have people that can do every single job but twice,
Right.
which isn't always necessarily easy. So yeah, we'll move towards that, but it's just going to take time.
Okay. Uh, with your Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 leagues, I've noticed, especially the past two, I'd say Keepers of the Flame and Abyss, you guys have really gone in to adding more story flourishes. And this is something I kind of care about, like
Mhm.
Aelith's story. I guess I won't spoil it for people who haven't played it yet, but Aelith and the whole Keepers of the Flame story was really, really interesting. Is that something your narrative team is really keen on like evolving as each patch comes out? Now we have interactive dialogue, we have these cool Easter eggs
Yeah.
and all that. Is that something that they have more bandwidth to
So
do now, or?
we've hired a lot more narrative people recently. Like the team's much bigger, so that's why that's sort of starting to happen.
Oh,
In
really?
fact, we just had another one start on Monday. So yeah, like the team's expanding in that regard, and yeah, that's why we're now able to do a lot of the stuff that we previously just weren't really able to do. So yeah, it's definitely something that we've improved a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate those extra little touches too. So as a lore enjoyer myself. Okay, I have a bunch of rapid fire questions for you, Jonathan. I maybe they'll inspire some discussion, but they might be simple as well. And then I have one thing to close
Mhm.
out everything with. Okay. So
Mhm.
first, we were planned to get a pathing import for the passive skill tree in
Yep.
PoE2. Is there any status on that? Is that still
I don't know
coming?
the status for it, but it still is planned.
Okay.
So I still want to get that.
Okay. How about sprint? Okay, I think after a few days of clunkiness, I love it. Okay, but I was very frustrated and I was dying a lot those first few days. Is there any opportunity to add a specific keybind for sprint where it does your roll into the sprint, but it's just not on your dodge key? Is that something that could happen?
So I hadn't heard anyone ask for that specific thing about like still doing the roll.
Yeah, like a
So
separate
what are
keybind
you
entirely.
suggesting that when you press it, it would continue sprinting even if you weren't holding it, or are you saying
Oh,
just so that you don't have the ability, like so you don't have the potential uh for accidentally running?
that's it. Because some people
Right.
have
Okay.
really fat fingers and
Right. Right.
they mean to dodge, they go into the sprint and bam, they get stunned out of it.
Right.
So
I guess we could do that. Like we could have it so that you can like separate the two out, but they're by default combined. I suppose that would be an option.
okay.
I'll ask about that. That might be something we can do.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great for people with fat fingers like myself. All right, this
Mhm.
one I know has been done to death as well, but I think it would help a lot of new players. Death recap, even a simple one. Is that something you
Right, right.
guys want to add
I mean,
eventually?
at some point probably,
Okay.
but unfortunately, not really on the cards in the near future.
Okay. So for map modifiers and for items, is there the possibility to add in color coding for prefixes and suffixes and certain modifiers in
Um,
PoE2?
I'd actually prefer not because I don't like items to turn into a rainbow. Like I think it really hurts how they look.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things that I don't really love.
Like a hotkey?
Yeah, so I'm
Like
not a fan of it personally.
not a fan of it. How about map
Yeah.
modifiers? Like being able to highlight certain map modifiers, or is that
I suppose it's similar where it just
similar
like
because it's
turns
an
into a bit of
item?
a rainbow in the end, which is
Okay.
not a huge fan of.
Okay. All right. For all my acolyte of Chayula lovers out there, all 1% of them, are you planning on adding like chaos attacks to the quarterstaff anytime soon to maybe build
Um,
out the acolytes
I don't
use?
have a specific thing. They're probably one of the major things we need to do is just work and just rework chaos generally. Like I would say that it needs like some kind of ailment or something. Like we need something for it to do more than what it's doing. So yeah, like we need to do a full chaos rework really, I would say.
Okay. Performance improvements for opening the Atlas. I know you mentioned this. Are we still going to get the black screen when we open the Atlas right now?
That probably, you know, I need to check on that. I haven't like looked at that specific thing
Okay.
personally. But yeah, like the reason why it does that is because it's loading shaders in the background, and so
Yeah.
that is there isn't a huge amount we can do about that because we're kind of at the whim of the display driver. One thing I will just say generally is if you have problems with black screens in general, deleting a shader cache can improve it potentially if you've got a full shader cache. So just like do that from time to time. If well, or reinstall your graphics driver as well. That could help. But yeah, if you get a really long scene there, it can be because of that. But yeah, like unfortunately, it's just shaders need to load. But you also don't want to load them before you open the Atlas because that would just be wasting your memory. So
Right.
yeah, that's the reason why it's like that.
Okay, so clean your keyboard, clean your monitor, and clear your shader cache before Friday,
Yeah,
guys. That's what you want to do.
yeah.
Okay, the slash passives command we have in PoE1 that shows us which passives we missed.
Mhm.
Possibility of getting that in PoE2 so we can see it all in one place instead of like scrolling over all the map icons.
I think a better solution to that would be to integrate it somehow into the world screen because like that's kind of what's showing
Oh,
you like. So, for example, like maybe there should be, like, for example, maybe there should be like a pop down thing that says like 0 out of 3 passive things done or something like like something like that. Like there'd be some way to integrate it there probably that I think I'd prefer to just a chat command.
I like that.
Like and that would probably be the way to do that, I reckon.
Yeah, I like that. All right, this one, people going
Mhm.
crazy asking about it. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Auto sort inventory, Jonathan. What is your philosophy on this? Is that ever going to happen?
Well, I mean, if I ever do that, then Chris will come rolling out of his grave to kill me. So, like I gotta be, I've got to bear that in mind as a downside.
True, true, true. He's
Yeah,
still in
it's the
New
whole item
Zealand.
weight thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole item weight thing. It's very, it's one of those things of like, it goes down the road of like items not even mattering and like you never actually see them, you never interact with them, like that kind of stuff, right? That's the concern, and it always has been about that stuff. So I mean, even the stuff we do have around like item affinities and so on made Chris pretty uneasy. But that was still really important. That was one that I actually came up with as like a way to sort of make it so that you still interact with stuff, but you still have some level of automation with regard to the stash.
Oh.
But like that kind of thing, has been good. But the auto sword, I think, might be a little bit of a bridge too far.
Hmm.
But
Oh.
like maybe there could be a world, as I said, like the proponents against that, and like not necessarily as loud as they were before. So I suppose maybe, but yeah, I'm not a fan personally.
I mean, how fast did the call come from Chris when async trade was implemented into the game?
Well, he certainly was concerned about it. I'll tell you that he was certainly very concerned about it. But
Uh,
I managed to sell him in the end. I sold him
you
in the end,
did?
and then he was on board. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you guys are on
yeah.
good terms with that. Okay. Now, this one, Oh, this one right here. Okay, profanity filter on console. Apparently, there's no profanity filter. Is that something you guys could implement on
Oh,
console?
it,
Yeah, I don't know if
it
that's you
wasn't
or
on my
Sony.
radar.
Maybe.
It wasn't on my radar
Oh,
at all. Is there normally an option in the game for that?
I don't know. I get profanity
Okay.
filtered
I'm
on.
like completely. I actually know nothing about this whatsoever. I'm like
Oh,
just zero understanding of the situation with this.
yeah. I don't know. People
Yeah.
they don't like seeing swear words. I guess they're like
Sure.
me.
I mean, well, it was not even a thing anyone's ever mentioned to me before.
Okay. Shapeshift MTX when? Why was there not a Druid supporter pack, Jonathan? What is this? Come on.
Well, there are going to be some MTX for Druid, but I just think they're not in the packs, so therefore you didn't announce them on
Oh,
the.
cool.
That's because the packs that we sell like that, they generally we try not to make them specific to a class, right? Because
Right.
those are the kind of like the real money, like things that get you the points. So the stuff you spend the points on, those are the ones that are going to be specific to classes, and therefore that's where all the different bear forms and things like that are going to be. In fact, I think that there are all the skills have something for the Druid right off the bat this time,
Could,
which is something I don't think we've ever managed to do before.
could you leak a
So,
bear form MTX? Is there like a panda?
unfortunately, not really my department, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some there's some stuff there.
Okay. Two more quick questions, Jonathan. One, I don't know if you're aware of this. I hope I'm not getting you in trouble or anyone in GGG in trouble.
Mhm.
There was a Twitch drop where somebody was adjusting their glasses, the Exiles treasurer decoration. It was really interesting. It stood out to me. How did you feel about GGG immortalizing you in game?
I wasn't made aware of that one before it happened, so whatever. It's just whatever.
It's good.
It's,
It's
it is
really
what it is.
good. Okay.
Right. Okay.
It is right next to my stash. I have it there. He talks about how poor I am. Unfortunately, I'm not bringing enough gold in, but it's a good MTX. I noticed it
Right.
immediately. It's a good,
Right.
good little Easter egg. Okay. To close us out, obviously, you guys are revisiting at Ziri in this expansion. First out, was it kind of exciting or nostalgic to go back to Adziri because she was like the very first expansion to PoE1, Sacrifice of the Val, and that was the first big end game boss? How did that feel on
For
your end?
sure. For sure. I mean, people have a lot of love for Xeris. There was also this whole everyone was very keen to make sure we get it right in terms of how she looks and everything. Like a bunch of people came out of the woodwork to have to have opinions about that. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that stuff going on with like the trailer and everything as well. So yeah, that was a big one for sure. So yeah, I think it turned out very well, and we've got like a pretty awesome version of Xeri for the that kind of like lives up to what we were to what we were what people had in their imagination, I suppose, from the previous version of what they were seeing. So that's been a lot of fun for sure.
Now, it was very exciting to see. Everything was framed very well in the trailers. People were quite excited. Now, I have a lore question for you. Doriani says at Ziri communes with the beast. Unofficial interpretation from Jonathan. What does that mean? Communing with the beast.
Well, I guess you'll have to wait to see the beast and its Zeri in the game to find that out. But yeah, you'll see, I suppose, is the answer to that.
Okay.
Play the game on the 12th, and then you'll find out the answer to that question.
All right, there we go. That's why you hired all the narrative designers to get this at Ziri storyline in the game. I see.
Sure.
Okay. Well, Jonathan, this was a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit down, take questions from the community, explain your thoughts. It's always great. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, you have what? 4 more days until the launch. I wish you well.
For sure.
I hope everything goes great. I hope I hope there's not as many bugs as, we people expect in the league.
I'm sure there can be some, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully we should be right.
Yeah, server's not on fire. Everything good. It's the Christmas patch. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
New player peak. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. What did you guys think about it? I'm afraid I had to close chat at one point. I had to close chat at one point, so that's all I'll say. Did you guys enjoy it? Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I thought that was good. The close out of everything. Chat was freaking me out a little bit. Goodness gracious, guys. What happened during the interview? Wow. Wowee. Oh, all right. Yeah, that was a good chat. I am a little, I don't know. I'm a little different. I know people are probably like, oh my gosh, we're talking about game design stuff. What's going on? Don't talk about game design stuff. Try to do a good mix, because it's so interesting to hear the thoughts and what he ended up doing. What they ended up doing. Thanks for the membership, bro. All right. We need a mod here ASAP. Don't we have mods? I think we have mods. Oh my gosh, we had 3,800 live people. Oh my gosh, the YouTube chat is popping off. Holy crap. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I enjoyed hearing a lot of Jonathan's takes. What's the one? Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it went well. I think Jazarus will be happy. We're going to get to see some real Beast at Ziri lore on Friday. It'll be good. All right, people enjoyed it. I see most people enjoyed it. It was good? It was good? Okay. I broke 4K. That is insane. We're at 3,700 on YouTube right now. That's crazy. Thanks for the support, you guys. You guys like it? They called Jazz a madman. I called him a prophet. True, Connor. True. Jazarus was right. Jazarus. Okay, that's literally when that is when I stopped looking at chat. What? Why was Rue too upset with me? What did I do? I don't understand. I don't know how you, my mods timed out any slight criticism. Well, I don't think that's true at all. I don't think they would do that. All right. All right, let me look at my Discord to see what my mods are saying. Here, let's turn chat off screen for a sec. All right. What happened? Yeah, there's no way my mods are timing out any slight criticism, guys. We critique the game all the time. What? What? All right. Yeah, no, you know, I trust my mods. I stand behind my mods. You know, they had a lot to deal with, a lot more than usual. Usually, it's, you know, we're pretty chill. So whatever happened, I'm sure wasn't as bad as people are making it out to be. All right. We should box for guys. What the heck? I love the interview, but I was hoping for some news about Passive Tree and Ascendancy release. Yeah, I'm sure they'll release those. I'm sure they usually do. Was a softball interview? All right. Other people are free to interview. I did my interview how I did my interview. That's it. I thought it went well, especially because I am sick. All right. Oh man, yeah, chat was going a little crazy. Okay. Wowee. What do you guys think? Great interview. Thanks, Hankenstein. Thank you so much. Thanks for the $10, dude. No, there's not an audio desync in my videos. All right. I dropped Headhunter during this video. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm very excited. Hey, Juice. Hey, Juice. How you doing, man? No disasters at work? Hopefully not. Okay, what did I skip? I skipped a few questions. Here, let me make it private again. All right, we'll take a look. What questions did I skip? Come on, hold myself to account. I need to close chat though. Okay. I skipped my questions because I was like, all right, I don't think that they would have been worthwhile. So I skipped What update in 0.4 is the strongest foreshadowing of where PoE2 is going? I skipped that. Oop. See Daisy. Skip that one. Nobody would have liked that. Does effectiveness increase the damage of mobs? Yes, it does. I'm pretty sure I read that it does, so I skipped that. Oftentimes I hear players say most PoE2 builds are in-game by design, not discovered by players. He mentioned that that wasn't the case in their opinion. So I skipped that one. When we die in form... Oh, no, I forgot this one. Oh, that was a rapid fire. When we die in form, do we load into our hideout in that form? Oopsie. Oh, I kind of asked this one. How do we know if loot is rewarding? Players care about drops even if they want accessible crafting. How's 0.4 ensuring drops are meaningful for longer play? I read an interview in which he addressed this. So, didn't do that one. All right, there was a question about rarity as a problematic stat and replacing it with curiosity, which only affects uniques like it does in PoE1. I skipped that one. Rarity went on for a little long. And then this one, there was literally an interview released about it yesterday. We've heard GGD would like PoE2 out of early access by the end of 2026, but 2027 is possible. Could you explain your philosophy around seeking to get it out ASAP? They literally just, he answered that question in an interview, so I was like, not going to do that again recently. And then we did this one, and we did this one. So we only skipped a few. I mean, some of them were like shorter though. So. Yeah. Okay. Let me read chat more. Well, let's read some chat some more. What are you guys thinking? Here, how about I put up like the reveal and we'll chat a little bit. All right, PoE2 Druid reveal video. I'll put this up. But I don't want to put her up because if I put her up, well, we know what will happen to my YouTube video. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see what people are saying. Let's see. I'll try to read chat. Okay. Yeah, there were some just like skate over answers. But I tried to push a little bit. I don't think we banned Rutu. I think we timed out Rutu because it sounds like he was trolling. Which, I mean, okay. Is there any way we can get class-specific notables for my character cringes? I don't know what that means. Hollow Palm Bear. I didn't ask about other classes. You can't weapon swap with Hollow. Oh, am I wrong about the monster damage? Monster effectiveness affecting their damage? If I'm wrong, yeah, I might be wrong. I'm sorry. Let me look at the patch notes. I can check out the patch notes. I might be totally wrong, dude, about the damage not affecting. Whatever it's called. Path of Exile 2 patch notes. Don't mean to spread misinfo. I'm just chilling. I was very nervous for that. I didn't ask about Duelist specifically. What? Of course not, because he's not going to tell me. Guys, they just got massive backlash on Endgame. He's not going to say, yes, Duelist is coming in 0.5. Plus, Ziggy just asked about Duelist. I'm not going to ask about Swords and Duelist again. What was the L on the rarity question? Did I screw up the rarity question? Did I screw up the rarity question? You want sword in my... Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh, uh-huh. More about dual wield. Everything was excellent. Only thing I'd like to see is a bit more pushing on the topic of Druid Ascendancies being cryptic. Yeah, I did skim over that Neversink. Not even cryptic. They're, you know, like, over-designed. They need to push back more on rarity. Community thinks it's extremely important, like 10x difference, mandatory, but question made it sound a bit trivial. Yeah, you know, I probably pissed people off by saying I did not use rarity in my last patch, and I've had fun. But What did I understand from his answer to the rarity question? That they actually haven't decided on what they're going to do with rarity. I thought that it was confirmed what they're doing, but it sounds like they're undecided still. That's what I understood from it. One sec, I have to make sure that... Yeah, alright. There you go. Rarity isn't that bad. The issue with rarity is more so that people act like it's mandatory. But once the game scales, it will be harder to justify versus other mods. Just takes time. 5 out of 10, you asked mid questions. But the problem is you did not push back on anything. You just nod and agree. Okay. I got my questions from the community. They were the most upvoted questions. I slid a few of my own questions in there. I think you can tell when I was really, really interested in certain questions. So. Jonathan not wanting rainbow items was funny. Yep, just smile and wave. Smile and wave, guys. Yeah. Guys, how is that? Am I, like, oblivious to how I act? I'm pretty sure that's not how the interview went. I don't understand. What is this smile and wave thing? People have in their heads that they're gonna, like, what was the word? Oh my god. Oh, there's a specific word that I see people saying. When they have an interview with Jonathan, like they're gonna break down, what's the word? Destroy synonyms. I need the right word here. Okay. Dismantle. Ah, that was the word. Dismantle. People are like, you gotta dismantle Jonathan. What in the world? Yeah, Jonathan definitely did seem tired. Grok does not know how many people play SSF. I'm guessing Grok probably takes the number of players on PoE Ninja that we see on the ladder for SSF and plots it against the number of people in trade. No, dismantle was the word. All right. Burninate. What is burninate? I have literally never heard burninate before. Also, like rats up a sewer pipe. Oh, during a storm. What a saying. I think I could use that saying a lot more. Don't you guys think? Trogdor the Burninator. I'm 28. Trogdor the Burninator. Okay. I'm 28, guys. Trogdor the Burninator. Okay. Interesting. Is this Trogdor the Burninator? Oh, I'm getting some like pop-ups going to this site. What are you guys trolling me? What is this? I need to make sure that there's no personal information on here. There's not. This is Trogdor? Trogdor the Burninator? Yes, I'm 28. Yes. Oh gosh, and I'm sick. Ah. Goodness. Try lays into JR in an interview to remember. Yeah, guys. Okay. Oh, it's a video. 28 is too young for Trogdor. Is it? I was pretty sheltered, dude. I'm pretty sheltered. I think some of Jonathan's takes are a bit bad, to be honest. Would love more pushback. Things like you need a league due to its early access. That's interesting because so a lot of things like Jonathan has been asked about before, like, and very set in his ways. And I don't think it's something that me, you know, a small content creator is going to change mind on when it's something like that. It's the same with mid-league balance passes where they're buffing or they're doing big nerfs mid-league. When here you go. Here's a when I hear Jonathan say like what he said when he was like, this is just what you got to do. You just got to do this. That's like a trigger word for me saying there was literally no point on talking about this anymore. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I try to move on pretty fast when he says something like that because it's like, all right, we're just going to like, there's no ground that's going to be made here. Let's actually get some new information. That's happened with like the mid-league nerfs. That happened in a prior interview with some topics. But when I heard him say that, I was like, yeah, this is something that is a core value to him. He is willing to change his mind on a ton of other stuff. And that's awesome. I mean, you guys heard him talk. Whoa, the rain here looks a little rough, FPS wise. Oh my gosh. Which is why it's awesome to chat with him. It's great. I am an internet virgin. You are so true. It's why I was very soft, right? As a developer, the most critical thing they could best to achieve was a regular, predictable cadence. Now, while it does mean some changes don't come as quick, it's been proven time and time again to be crucial to your game's survival. Awesome, Guitar Holic. Basically everything. I hope he changes his mind on 3 charge requirement for spell totem and cooldown spells with it. Well, did you guys understand the... Okay. I thought his answer made sense to me, the spell totem one. I thought that was actually a pretty good answer. Smooth as an elven arse. Now, I know that reference. Baldur's Gate 1. There you go. I don't know Trogdor, but I know Baldur's Gate 1, guys. As smooth as an elven arse. Yep. His answer made it sound like charges had to exist. Hey, Grape. Thanks so much for the 18 months, dude. Did you enjoy the chat, man? Neversink has a great take on spell totems. He 100% does. You were working and missed it. I think it went well. I think it went well. It was good. I think it went really well. Okay. All right. Yeah, I did try to push on the one portal endgame thing. Some of you guys are delusional. I totally pushed on that. I vividly remember saying, well, actually, I even did the well, actually, I think. I was like, well, actually, have you been playing one point? I mean, it doesn't feel too good with the juicing. You know, you die once and it's over. It feels kind of bad, man. I should push harder. I should have pushed harder. Oh, come on, guys. And don't roll your map so hard. I was reading chat while he was giving us take on that. And it was funny because like 80% of people were like, why are you even asking about this? This is a non-issue. When this was definitely something that people were interested in. Okay, guys. Do you guys remember Talkative Bro? Okay? Talkative Bro, guest on the channel. The person who tries to make cast on crit comet work, even though it's cast on crit hollow palm technique comet work. You guys remember that guy? You did really good. Thanks, bro. I don't know if you're still listening, bro. He thinks we might need some, we might need to be a little harsher on some of the spam next time. Apparently some people were spamming a bit too hard in the chat. I was not looking. Like I said, I trust my mods. I think they know what they're doing. Oh no, I'm getting mentioned. Yeah, you're getting mentioned, bro. You're still watching. What's happening? Man, this is what how rare do you guys think this is going to be? Do you guys think this is going to be like P0 unique? Because this is what I want. That last line, skills gain 5 glory every 2 seconds. You can be using Bear Apocalypse constantly with it. And here, me talking about wanting visual clarity. And I'm going to be like Bear Apocalypse Bear. Oh boy. So make it a subscriber chat. Maybe that's what we should have done, dude. You want to talk, you gotta pay. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I think a W take from my brother. Super hype for Comet Druid. Hey, bro, are you like driving home or are you at home? Do you want to have an impromptu chat in front of a few thousand people? Or do you not want to do that, bro? Probably a bad idea. I shouldn't do that to you. I shouldn't have asked you that. That wasn't nice of me. Okay. I thought it was so okay. The performance thing at the very beginning, I was not looking at chat then because I know that people were like, talk about the game. But hearing like it wasn't, I didn't ask about this. A lot of people, I should have asked about this, but it's kind of a gotcha question. I don't know what he would have said. Dang it, I should have asked. How he was like, we actually did a lot of work on the back end to improve performance. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's just the 40% reduced monster density, which I'm sure contributed. But it sounds like they legitimately did quite a bit of real work on the game engine between this patch and last patch. I really hope it plays better. We're going to find out in 4 days, and it will be evident. Oh, you guys did follower-only chat? Oh, lovely. They're always working hard. They seem to have cooked grape. This particular patch. Me paying attention. Well, last protagonist, when my chat was flipping out and people were talking about banning Rue, I feel like I gotta address it. There were a couple thousand people in here, so did I show butt? Crap. Yeah, maybe emote only if it happens again. Yeah. Yeah, in general. I know. That is really unfortunate, though. Dang. That's really unfortunate. Okay. Man, oh, I'm so excited for this. Guys, I actually haven't watched the reveal again since the actual reveal. I mean, I got some time here. My family is not home. Do people want to, like, just go through it again? Parts of it? I mean, I feel like I might just do it personally. So I only watched it that one time. Maybe I'll do that right now. Jonathan didn't know about the Ignite threshold stuff, but he said the intention was to not increase the ailment threshold stuff. They didn't want to make it harder to inflict ailments on monsters. So if that was, I take it as if that was accidentally changed, that they'll revert it by the time the patch comes out. Because it sounds like hit points in PoE2 is different from ailment threshold.
L2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream.
All right. I can't do but. No but.
What's wrong with him?
He's lost his bloody mind.
Man, those hind legs, guys. I am going to start there. But we have to remember, guys. I have never made it farther than Act 4 with Warrior. Maybe just because I got the aesthetic going on, I'll like it. I mean, but what happens with Warrior? All these skills that I've used just, to me, don't feel good. So if the bear skills feel fun and good to play, if they feel fluid, then I feel like I'll have a blast. I don't know if it has to do with the I don't know if it has to do with the actual like slowness of it. But I'm going to find out when I play the bear. No, I got to play Druid, dude. Oh, so sick. Okay, we haven't talked about it much, but Camille went so hard with the bagpipes. Oh, it is really quiet, isn't it? Camille, I'll turn it up. Is that better? Camille just went crazy with the... Wait, those are bagpipes, right? Those are bagpipes. Are they not?
I will find you, Eve.
Very witchery. Very witchery.
Now, as you can see, the druid is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow druids were destroyed by the King in the Mists, the druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years.
I wonder if he's going to be in the hanging scene or what. Is he legit going to just wake up naked, pure naked? I wonder if he's going to be the first guy that's just naked. What? What is this? What is this link, Omega Cybers? Can I open it? Is it safe? Oh, it's the music for the trailer. Yes, it's so sick. Okay. I was just checking to make sure it was safe. Okay.
This is a beast. Now,
oh, I listened. I have all of Camille's YouTube channel stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Finally reawakened.
He's just naked in the character select screen. Oh, yes.
He's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity.
Now he's looking for his lost wife, too. I wonder if she's a major player in the story.
The druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design, as well as having human...
I do trust you. I do trust you. I should trust you. I'm silly. the longest con ever.
spells.
His wife is at Ziri.
He has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks.
A lot of people, I think Neversink was bringing this up too. I was chatting with him again last night. Neversink, go. This is going to be one of the, like, the most complicated class in Path of Exile 2 by far. Because it sounds like to really take advantage of the things that are unique to the druid, the ascendancies, you need to not focus in one thing. And if you do, you're kind of screwing yourself. You got to do spells and shapeshifting, or spells and something else. Oh my goodness, my poor Chloe. What's going on? Chloe, she's crying. It'll be super interesting. I really hope the payoffs feel good. Druid could be fast as all hell. The wolf looks giga fast, guys.
As a human, the druid typically
Who mods the mods? Great question.
uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world.
Shape and filth!
One of the first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time.
The quality, it's 4K.
While the volcano is active, turn into an animal and wade into melee range.
One thing, I didn't ask about this. Guys, they're using point click in this. I wonder what it looks like with WASD. Do we have any WASD footage of the druid? Do we have any sprinting of the druid? I know we have the dodge of the druid forms, but do we have any of the other things? You're going to try hard to make Spell Totem work. Ender, it sounds like they're releasing some endgame builds of PoE2 in the lead up. So, to the release. And one of them is Spell Totem only. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, we haven't seen any of that stuff yet.
Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time, giving you a good chance to turn into an animal and rage out. But how do you turn into an animal, you may ask? Well, the answer is a new weapon type that druids use.
Do not even will that into existence. Cat Chat 240p. Imagine if WASD was disabled with shapeshifting. There's no way.
Animal talismans. When you equip an animal talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent. Depending on what you choose, you'll be given that animal's base.
Oh, Gazzy, thank you so much for the raid, man. I hope you enjoyed the interview, man. Got a little bit of a druid minion shout out there with the 2 keystones that haven't been revealed yet. Hopefully you and your chat enjoyed it, dude.
Attack as a new
Always enjoy yours with Jonathan as well. Jonathan and Mark.
skill to equip.
And DM.
For a bear, that's Maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will instantly transform into a bear and attack. If you want to
Yeah, I think there's some good stuff there.
change back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast it. We wanted to make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle. In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way. The volcano we used earlier will emit more molten balls whenever you hit it with a slam, making it perfect for use with your bear form's Furious Slam. While in bear form, many of your abilities use Rage.
That slam looks so freaking slow but fluid. I wonder what it looks like when you speed it up. This.
Perfect for use with your bear
Look how
form's
insane
Furious
that
Slam.
is.
While form's Furious Slam.
I mean, it's actually not that slow. You know, the swing actually looks
For
slower.
use with your bear form's Furious Slam. While in bear form, many of your abilities use Rage. There are a lot of ways to generate Rage, but the easiest one is simply smash your enemies with Maul. Once you see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough Rage to do a much more devastating version of your Furious Slam. Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes.
This is the one thing I'm a little bit worried about. Did you see what was happening with the rampage?
A rampage, stomping
It's like the pushiness with the bear.
Your bear form can also go on a rampage.
If you are like surrounded, if you're swarmed, as Jonathan says, with a lot of monsters in endgame, due to the size of the bear, how big it seems to be, it could feel really bad if you're like getting body blocked by a whole bunch of monsters. That's something I'm scared about. It looks so cool. I'm wondering if you like gain increased weight or something while you're in Rampage. Oh, this is WSD bear gameplay?
You have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your Furious Slam.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. Yep.
Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes. The more rage you have, the longer the rampage
Just raided.
lasts.
Thanks for the raid. I have no idea who raided. Thank you. Who raided? Who is it? Let me see. I don't have my alert. Rax, dude, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing your breakdown of the interview, Rax. If you're doing it, that was a little bit forward of me. But I do watch all of your breakdown videos. So of Diablo 4, Last Epoch, whatever. So I will watch a breakdown of my own interview if you do one. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, I guess I'll plug it. Rax and I are chatting on December 18th. That should be really, really fun. The first one was great. Rax, I've been having more fast food as of late, just not Chipotle. So I have some new topics to bring up. I know we talked about Chipotle burritos about a year ago. Also, I'm going to wear this hoodie. If you can continue wearing your blue hoodie, I'll wear the red hoodie and we'll like, be a little clashing. It'll be so good, dude. Oh, he did the breakdown live? Oh, gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay, so I know what I'm watching after I finish streaming.
Makes it even better.
Okay, here's another thing. Look, the wind up for this. It's a little slow, maybe? I don't know. We'll have to see how it feels. A lot of the Druid looks so cool, but I'm worried that I'm gonna just resort to Wolf because it feels snappier. Because I loved Monk so much. I loved the Ice Strike, Tempest Flurry, the leaps. I feel like Wolf is Monk, but in Druid form. So I might just resort to that if I end up not liking the bear. Aesthetically, watching this, it looks incredible. Will it feel good to play? I don't know. You're going to wear your tan hoodie too to join in. Okay, good. I wonder if we can rampage through an entire map like that. That'd be sick. Especially because you're going to probably be able to speed up the speed of it. Speed up the speed. Wowie. Yeah, I bet you'll be able to rampage through a whole map. I am not going Wyvern. That's for DM. I heard DMs going. My dad was like, "Did you hear Darth Microtransaction is going Wyvern?" And I'm like, "I did not hear, Dad. I don't watch. My dad must be a DM stream watcher now too."
As you consume rage.
When does the interview start? The interview is over. I'm gonna upload it after I finish streaming. I just have to do timestamps and stuff.
Your bear form will generate
I'm gonna post it right after I finish.
Endurance charges, and these can be used with skill.
There. That's the thing I'm scared about.
As you consume
Watch.
rage, your bear form will generate endurance charges, and these.
Ooh, I'm scared about that.
As you consume rage, your bear form will generate endurance charges, and
The
these can
push.
be used with skills like Ferocious Roar.
Any important info dropped in the interview? It was mostly just his insight into the game and balance changes and decisions. It was a little bit of new info on a few keystones that are dropping, but not like a lot of new info. It was mostly just a chat. The goal of these, they're not going to drop unless they do something specific like EHG did, or it's like the reveal. They're mostly just talking about the decisions that they made in the game. They're giving insights. Sometimes they'll drop some new info, but a lot of the time, I don't think that they drop new content. It's a lot like what Jonathan was saying with 041. There might be system changes, there might be more insights, but there's not going to be new content added. That's the same with like these interviews. They usually don't drop huge info bombs, especially right before the launch. They're usually just more to like get the developers' thoughts on things. My dad is, yeah, he's pretty awesome. Yep.
Ferocious Roar is a war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your opponent's armor.
Tayoshi, thank you so much for the sub, dude.
The more endurance.
Oh, the ignite stacking. You're right with Wyvern. That's good. Wolf pack. Okay, so I'm not. I was not getting myself enough credit. Wolf pack. Okay, all that stuff. Got it. Okay, scaling wolves was big. Rage. Okay. My mind is still reeling. Oh my gosh, I got a cough. My mind is still reeling just a little bit. Just a little bit. Also, thanks for all the follows, you guys. We got like over 1,000 follows during that, so that was awesome. Appreciate it. How's it going, Lycan? It's going well. It's going well, man.
Charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear.
Thanks for the sub, Space-Time Jumper.
Use the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode.
Okay, see, that's what I'm going to go. It does look chunky and satisfying. My only issue is if the monsters are going to just be too much for me. Like, imagine running from pack to pack and blowing them up with the big explosions and then taking down the rare with your swipes and everything. Oh. Great interview. Just fun to watch on YouTube. Thanks, Deathstalker. I appreciate it.
Or use Seismic Cry to stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do. You can even use it with Ancestral Call, a skill that...
Okay, this is literally something that I was not aware of. Right here. Because like I said, I haven't rewatched it. The Rage Bar? The Rage
you into
Bar?
the Fire God Cow. Ever wondered what the Karui God of War would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer. Finally,
also, that is just insane how it changes the
God
appearance
of
of the
War would
bear.
look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer. Finally, build up enough rage.
I don't like maces. That's why I'm a little scared, dude. I think we should be able to push mobs in bear form. I agree, especially during Rampage. Making the biggest bait build of my life. Smith of Katava, Werewolf, Wolves, cast fire spell on hit, detonate dead with sacrifice, pray for me. That sounds like a paint build. Yeah, the interview already happened. I'll upload it on YouTube after I finish streaming, you guys. Or you can just go on the YouTube live right now and just check out the VOD.
And you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. A true bear apocalypse. Now the bear is known for being a slower and more lumbering animal,
Right.
with slower attacks and heavy slams.
Yep.
But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well,
Interesting, Jonathan. Can you believe they almost didn't ship the wolf? That is crazy.
let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form. For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious.
I can't believe that was... It sounds like Jonathan didn't really care about wolf. It sounds like some developers were pushing hard for the wolf. In the showcases, I'm seeing a lot of basic attacks that build resources that look clunky to use. I hope it's not that bad in game. Are you talking about the swipes? Great interview. Thanks for digging into the game dev questions too. 100%, bro. Thank you. We Turks would declare war to New Zealand if Wolf did not arrive.
Even just the wolf.
I know, Wolf Invoker sounds fun, you guys. It does.
Basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes. After attacking,
Okay, so the Wolf's basic attack is like a combo.
even just the wolf's basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes. After attacking, the wolf stands up on two legs.
It is so fun. I can pause now because it's not the official reveal. I remember when the... Excuse me, sorry. I remember the official reveal was what's happening? I was thinking in my mind, this guy is auto-attacking white mobs, and he is not killed. This is insane. GGG, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, no! And I looked at chat, and everybody was like, 17 DPS, 17 DPS. So expected.
But after running for a short time, he goes back on all fours, allowing to move more quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his
When this happened, I was like, oh no! Oh no!
association with the moon, and the first of these is lunar
Because he's not even dodging, he's just standing there auto-attacking.
assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your basic rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them. Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolfman into your side, allowing...
So is a pounce attack like a monk's palm attack? Basically, that's what it seems like. Remember Chris talked about people in PoE1 running around with needed gems and links and stuff. Accurate new build. Yeah. Oh, no. I know they just wanted to showcase abilities. I knew that. A lot of people either were trolling or legit thought they were that bad. This looks butt going crossbows. I'm sure crossbows are going to be absolutely busted. How do you clear mobs with this? Well, great question, sir. Apparently, there will be less mobs to clear, so you will have more viable builds. We'll have to see, though. I'm really only worried about charges. The spear really burned me with them. Now, did you see the parry change in the updated patch notes, Amethyst Lure? Parry actually looks much better now. It hits all the mobs in range when you parry, and it always hits the monster that you got the parry from. So, like, if you parry something ranged, it'll still hit that monster. It's pretty nice. Thank you, Turkey2065. Appreciate it, man. Chat, this was showcase. Yes, guys, this is just a showcase. This is just a showcase. The damage is higher. They're showing some endgame builds this week. Parry change is almost like what I wanted in the first place, and you might not remember I told that one to you. No, I think I remember. I remember running it back in point 2, dude. That was a rough time.
with you. Mark and kill as many enemies as you can to build up a sizable pack. While an enemy is marked, your wolves will prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have, so make sure you keep your pack strong. Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing it. Cross Slash also has another feature though. Remember those ice fragments from before? Well,
did we just get a raid from Arrow? Why are we shouting out? Is Arrow in the chat? Where's Arrow? I don't see Arrow. We can shout out Arrow though. Arrow's nice.
Slash will propel any ice shards on the ground towards a central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with Cross Slash to generate a field of icy explosions to obliterate your enemies. If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the bear's raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a meta gem that you can socket mark skills from other classes into.
All right, I don't... Omega, somebody, you can ban Mr. Hotpot. I'm just not gonna... I don't want trolls. I really don't give a crap about trolls anymore. They can go to somebody else's chat. You can ban them if you want, or I can ban them. Thank you.
So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, Cross Slash to explode the mark and gain extra cold damage for a time. The wolf has many other ways to go all in on cold though. Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your
guys, we can make our own chilled ground now. How cool is that?
Pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos.
That looks, see, this looks really sick. This combo here.
Freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos.
That looks really satisfying. Thank you, Debs Flame.
Finally, the wolf also has the ability to
I think I might go Ice Wolves after I try Bear, and if I don't enjoy it, I'm going.
call down the power of the moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming Rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect. Alright,
so much
let's talk
praise.
about the third form available to the druid, and I think it's a cool one. The Wyvern. The Wyvern has a number of long-range breath abilities.
Am I worried about lack of skills for one form specialist? I mean, like, since it's based on the weapon, there's, what, 6 or 7 rows of skills and likely one wolf, one boy. Yeah, so there's a limited amount of skills if you're only focusing on the forms. I think what they're trying to push really with this is combining with other archetypes, particularly spells. So that's something that I was going to ask Jonathan a bit more on. But it ended up being in another part of the interview, just like, everybody obviously realizes, okay, PoE2, it's in development, right? We're in early access. Obviously, it's monetized and everything, but there's so much baseline being added. I played PoE1 I still play PoE1, but when I played PoE1, I joined after it had been out for like 6 years. And every single one of those patches, what did they do? They added brand new skills to pre-existing archetypes. So it's so cool to just think about where this game will be in 4 years, 5 years, when we can be getting patch 2.3, and oh my gosh, it's adding 2 new bear skills, 1 new wolf skill, a new wyvern skill, and then adding another sword skill. And like, that's so cool. We have to remember that this is the foundation. This is the baseline. And I know that's kind of frustrating to some people right now that we don't even have the foundation for so many different cool archetypes that people want to play. But that is just reality. It's just the base of the game, and they're building it out as they go. And that's the reality of like an early access title. That's what we're playing, right? So, excuse me. The interview is over. Yeah, let me change the stream name. Okay. I'll change the stream name.
But that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons. If they're close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an explosion of damage.
Oh, goodness.
After the battle, though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's ability...
Guys, the Wyvern's gonna be either, I think, a huge win or a massive, massive miss. I don't know. Oh, it's so interesting.
Really come on. Devour the corpses of monsters. After the battle, though, it's time to feed.
I need to get in and play this. The wolf and bear, I can see, like, this is the one that, like, it kind of mystifies me, along with the oracle and shaman. I feel like some people feel the same way. One streamer I watched basically said Wyvern looks too slow. Well, this is like, I think, the very beginning of the progress. You'll be able to scale it, like with everything, right? Surely Mark has tested it at endgame. Well, he's just an Ignite master, dude.
Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning.
Oh, was that a sprint, guys? Was that a sprint? What was that?
When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning.
Oh, that's a dodge. That was a dodge.
Not only does this do a bunch...
Oh, that's one thing. I think the dodges should be rolls. I think the dodges should be rolls. That looks like a skip.
To damage. You can
I don't
consume
want
a
a
power
skip.
charge
I want
to
a
charge
full
up your
roll.
wings with lightning.
If grinding gear games makes bear roll a microtransaction, there's no way they do that, right? Oh my god. Dude, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do bear roll as MTX. They took away what we could have had as base. They put it as MTX. That's possible. Because we saw the rolling bear. They said it looked ridiculous, but come on, there's ridiculous stuff in the MTX shop. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a Panda Bear MTX.
Not only does this do a bunch of damage, but it allows you to turn this melee skill into a much larger AoE attack.
I think Connor said something like, oh, Lightning Claw is going to be the most busted skill, and this is essentially a Lightning Claw, so I wonder if you're going to be able to scale this to some tremendous degree, and this is going to be the meta Druid skill, the Wyvern Lightning Claw. Oh.
Once your wings are charged, your Wing Blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage. If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all. Alright, so those are some melee options, but how about range? Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after all. Rolling Magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath attacks. Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground. These balls will trigger volcanoes as well, so it's a good
Look, you can move while spitting the balls! Come on!
idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting. But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours. Spitting a barrage of oil at your enemies will cover them in a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite. If you have power charges though, plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee attacks while channeling this skill. In order to help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human abilities.
I can't believe we're finally gonna get to play this in a few days. I don't even care if it's bad. I'm just so excited for it. Jonathan Rogers was so right about floaty combat. I'm glad they're sticking their guns on melee. Funny, I almost threw a game under the bus. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Has anyone played Guild Wars 2? Sometimes their melee combat feels floaty. I understood exactly what he was describing when he was talking about the specifically the animations and melee feeling floaty. I was thinking to like my Axe Warrior, and I was like, oh my god, you know what? Jeez. He might be right. Guild Wars 2 is a great game. Love Guild Wars 2. But my mind immediately went there. My take on Wyvern is it's going to be used more for power charge gen for other builds. It would take a lot of investment to make Wyvern its own build. So you're like a totem build, but to get your power charges, you become a Wyvern. Pretty sick, eh?
As a Druid of Scoth, you have the ability.
Could you elaborate on the floaty combat? Yeah, it's like a feeling. It's like you feel like you're just skating on ice. Like it's not like actually gameplay. It's just the feeling. It's your character as you're watching it move. It just feels like it's just floating on air. And it ends up making everything not feel as impactful as it would in a PoE2. Oh, sorry. Like Concord? Never played Concord.
Ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines.
Okay, so this is what people are most hyped about. All right, it's the farmer. Okay?
To slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock.
We love making our enemies wet, don't we, guys? Can I get a hallelujah? My wife's gonna hate me for that one.
Use it with lightning damage from your Wyvern form to enhance your damage. Making things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your...
I didn't register this in the freaking interview. Making things wet.
Wolf form as well. And you know what else likes water? Plants.
This
Water
is true.
your plants to give them various extra abilities. Use Lightning Storm with Entangle to make them last longer, and attach more vines to each enemy.
They last longer, guys. They last longer. They're wet. Man, John, wow.
Slowing them further. Summon Thrashing Vines to slam at your
Thrashing? Oh my god. I can't believe I didn't realize this. This is crazy.
enemies for a time. Any that are created in water will be larger and deal more damage. Now then, with our enemies sufficiently subdued with our plants, time
Got to make sure they're No, I'm just kidding.
to
Okay.
really lay into them with our lightning-infused barrage. Now, this last Wyvern ability is just ridiculous, but we felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the
Okay, so this is the one he was describing that applies like a whole bunch of mini ignites essentially to stack their power, as opposed to just doing the one hit. Okay, let's take a look.
skies.
Please no WAP. I hate that song. I have strong opinions on WAP, and they'll piss people off. That is the worst song ever. Plague on society. I'm so sorry. WAP sucks.
And rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full advantage of them after all. So fly around and burn in it.
Okay, it's cool. It's cool. Look at that neck turn. Look at the neck turn, guys. What the heck? That's crazy.
Now there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell Totems.
Spell totems, baby. When I look at shapeshifting, it looks great, but I thought they were working on it for so long because you'd be able to turn into captured souls just like you bind specters. Go Curry. It sounds like there was a lot of debate internally at Grinding Your Games on what shapeshifting was meant to be. It sounds like they had lots of stuff implemented but scrapped. If you look at Bear, all the Bear skills we see, honestly, I mean, that's what we saw in 2023. They don't look much different. I think Wolf and Wyvern and the tree monster, that was most of the development time. And it sounds like there was a lot of debate on how they should work.
Spell Totems are meta gems that let you create a totem that will automatically cast any spell in the game for a time. In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges.
WAP hit #1 on the charts the same year Society canceled Baby It's Cold Outside. Man, I could go off right now, but I'm not. Hey, if we have the highest viewership we've had in months, I'm not going to go off on that. But yeah, I am a fan of Baby It's Cold Outside. I like the song. Sorry if it upsets you. It's a song. I like it. I sing it. I sing it to my wonderful wife. Okay? I like Christmas songs. And WAP is a terrible song.
You could use them to throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless. Your bear form can easily generate endurance.
What is this? Am I... People said this exists before in chat. I didn't know. Is this an Archon form? Am I out of the loop? What is this from? What is this? Tree monster fungus boy for the SM would be cool. Archon. What is Archon? Archon PoE2. Is it a skill? What? Archons are a type. What are Archon? Is a type of buff, so it's a skill? It's a buff skill. I've literally never even seen. Man, I am a giga noob, you guys. So it's kind of like a transform. It's kind of sick. How have I not seen this in any gameplay, guys? Oh, it's a lot of investment. It just looks cool. Man, my throat's not feeling the best. Oy, oy, oy.
Endurance charges by
Because it isn't good? Okay, well, it looks sick.
consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed, but they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of...
Okay. The rain special effect appears to destroy performance. Captain Lance did testing with it and determined it wasn't good. By the way, Captain Lance on the podcast in 0.5. He missed my message. He forgot to respond to my message because he was going to come on the pod. But he forgot to respond. Didn't get him in time. 0.5 Captain Lance. Shout out to Captain Lance. Awesome guy. Has a wife. Has 2 kids. He's sweet. Love that guy. If you sub, you can make the stream 1 second behind and get the VOD without music. I don't know what that means. Lance is goated. Too many points to support Archon on the tree, and they're too far apart. Okay.
Different spellcaster classes thinking
Okay,
about how
I
best to take
understand.
advantage of these.
What about Steel Mage? I have not reached out to Steel Mage. Steel Mage for 0.5? I haven't reached out to him since I canceled. Cute Dog, 0.5. Yep. Cute Dog responded. Cute Dog will happen. Cute Dog, Captain Lance, Steel Mage, maybe DS Lily. Because DS Lily didn't respond. She said, maybe late December, maybe not. I don't know. So might be 0.5. Steel Mage is very angry about PoE2 right now. That's fine. I talked to Lighty. Not Ben, the other Lighty. And he hates PoE2. Actually, I'm going to do a podcast with Lighty on Wednesday. So, Slippery Jim. Slippery Jim is very nice. He supported me on Patreon. He supported me on Patreon when I was doing slop content. Isn't that crazy? Steel Mage hates PoE2 though. Yeah, but I can still talk to him and get his opinion on it. And I haven't watched any of his videos. I don't watch streams, so I don't know if he hates it or he just has qualms about it.
Now, of course, along with
Yeah, I'll invite everybody. I know Connor hangs with the people who don't really like me, and I know Fubgun has been very critical about my positivity. I've invited him. Connor's come on stream. He's very kind. I think he disagrees with me a lot of stuff, and he obviously sees the game way differently, but I appreciate watching his videos, and that'll be a really fun podcast too, especially because we'll be like a week and a half into the league, so Connor will probably have already broken the game. So
new class comes a bunch of new support gems. We've added over 30 new supports throughout the game, but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here. Fan the Flames can be added to any wind skill to spread fire from one ignited enemy to the other enemies behind them. It's great for the Wyvern's Wing Blast, but you can also use it on many other classes with wind skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's
I've had Pox on the podcast. That was such a wholesome episode, dude.
staggering palm projectiles. Accelerated growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants.
Belton, there's a whole bunch of like RMT stuff going on with that. I don't know what's true, what's not. I have not ever reached out to him.
Plants with rain.
The VOD is up, dude. It's actually a good pod. We don't talk a ton, like some of it was PoE2, but he gives me the rundown of the history of Righteous Fire. There's like a 20-minute part of the episode where he talks about that. We talk about how his hair is so beautiful, how he takes care of it. He's really nice.
And Advancing Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for
This is cool. It makes your area of effect spell follow you. That's actually kind of cool. It's a cool kind of automation.
watering plants en masse, or to turn tornadoes into a real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along. And the Sorceress might like to use it with Firestorm as well.
I already DM'd him, Pat Sucks at Gaming. I DM'd him dates and times. He never responded. And at this point, I'm like filled up to the brim. So you got to respond. Do it for 0.5. I went into his stream. I went into Fub's stream because he wasn't responding. And I was like, yo, I DM'd you. You got to respond. When they were doing that tier list of perverted content creators. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Echoing Cry causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more empowered attacks. Use it for the Druid's animal form Warcries, or on the Warrior for a nice power boost. Grounding Shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear.
Obviously.
There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover. Now with a new class comes new Ascendancy class.
What build is my dad playing this league? Excellent question. Can I get any guesses? Any guesses in the chat? My dad is a blaster. What build is he playing? I need some guesses in the chat. I did say it earlier in stream, so. Somebody already said it. Bub Guns build. You said it. You're done. There you go. Yep. He's doing Pathfinder. Yeah, the Pathfinder Fub Gun build. Is it Lightning Arrow Deadeye into Pathfinder? Yep. He told me he's doing the Fub Gun build. He said something Pathfinder and everything. Yeah. So. Yep. When Jonathan? We already had Jonathan. My dad is 61 years old. And he has way more playtime in PoE2 than me.
The Druid will have 2 options for now, with a third being released later. The first class is the Shaman. The Shaman channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying his animalistic and magical tendencies. By allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage the angrier you are, and with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously and can spend it to empower your
I did see Dreamcore's video on limits, yeah.
spells. With the knowledge of the
Dreamcore he's one of the guys that I instantly watch videos of. Even if I don't understand everything, I try to learn a little bit through, you know, him explaining it to me.
Marian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols.
My dad is not a tourist. That is correct. My dad is Omega Grinder. He's nothing like me. He's probably got 300 hours, 200 hours. Probably 240 hours in point 3, and I played for about 80. And I make content for the game. My dad is a hardcore grinder. He will sit in the Trial of Chaos for 8 hours straight. All right? 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. grinding soul cores to sell for profit to fund his giga powerful build, his one-shot Arbiter. My dad one-shot Uber Arbiter. Yep. Different strokes for different folks, guys. I fell far from the tree. This apple fell extremely far from the tree. I almost have no desire to do that. I like the little story flourishes that I talked about with Jonathan. I meant that. In Keepers of the Flame, that was sweet. With Abyss and all the extra stuff, awesome. I can't wait to see what they're doing with Beta the Vow. That's the stuff I like. But I also like Path of Exile too, where it has that grinding mentality and it has all these different things. You'd think that I'd want to play just like story-based games, but I've gravitated to PoE1 and PoE2. So I have a little bit of everything. I mean, man, my voice is dying. Is my dad still married? Yes, he is. Yeah. Yep. To my mom. I'm the ultimate tourist. I just enjoy the campaign and a little mapping, but mostly enjoy watching folks play while I play other games. Yeah, that's fine. Try, I know you asked Jonathan answers about Warrior Slower movements, but guys, their philosophy, I'm not going to ask that probably ever again. Their philosophy is that the trade-off is worth the benefit in those cases. Other people can ask about it. Have other people ask about it, complain about it. You know how it sounded like he would actually fold on auto sort? Could you guys believe that? What? It sounded like he was gonna fold on auto sort. He's not gonna fold on this downside thing with maces. It's not. I know it's not worth it. I know it feels it's not worth it, and I tried to communicate that as best I could. So, can we reserve the use of tourists to grifting content creators that misguide players? Yeah, I don't really know like what the term even means anymore, you know? Weird compliment time. You are the least edgelordy PoE2 Twitch streamer. For this, I thank you. And I do that for a reason. Poop dish. Yeah, poop dish. Thank you. I do that because I enjoy content creators that are like family friendly and not edgelordy, because sometimes I like to listen to stuff while I'm like with my daughters or we're like in the car ride, and I have to blacklist a lot of creators or YouTube channels, and I hate that. So I try to be as family friendly as possible on my stream. It's as simple as that. So I try not to be as edgelordy. Feels like not folding on async trade, yet they finally did, so you never know. That's exactly what I brought up. Dreamcore has a new video 5 hours old on shapeshifting. Was going to watch it unless you watch to it here. I'm not going to react to it. I don't want to react to it if it's 5 hours old. I feel like that's not good. You should go watch it and support Dreamcore. Go give the video a like, give them the watch time. Don't have me live react to it a few hours after it came out. I don't like that.
After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available to the Shaman. These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build. You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage,
my goodness.
storms...
Wait a second, guys. It is 5:55. My family's home. I gotta go spend some time with them, you guys. So I actually have to go chill with them. I appreciate all the support, dudes. Thank you so much. Seriously. Oh, we were just talking about him? Let's rate him. All right, everybody on YouTube, thank you so much. This has probably been my second most successful YouTube stream ever. Thank you so much. If you're still watching on YouTube, like the video, leave a comment after the bot is done. I'm going to post the full interview with timestamps immediately after this. Thank you for the support. Thank you for making interviews like this happen. I do truly appreciate it. And I can't believe that it's actually real. And that stuff like this has panned out. So seriously cool, guys. We're able to do this because you guys support me. So thank you. I hope I repped you well. Hope I asked some burning questions, some good questions. And I hope to do it again in the future. I was very, very trepidatious in the lead up to this particular one, more so than others, to the point where I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do it again. But after that, yeah, I definitely do. I don't know why I was so doomy. Well, I do know why I was so doomy, but we don't need to talk about that today. All right, I am rating you on over to Lance. Thank you so much again. I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful night, you guys. Truly. Is it Saturday? Oh my, no, it's Monday. Today's Monday. Oh my God. This has already felt like a week. An absolute week. All right. Have fun with Lance, you guys. Stay sane. Bye-bye. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.